right, so you guys were all kind of hired by this well-known, legendary hero known as Jack Giantbane. He's known throughout the land as being, an adventurer of renown. This guy there's been no giant that has ever survived his blade except one. And this one giant was almost the death of Jack. In fact, he survived, but at a great cost. He survived only by basically nearly sacrificing himself and throwing himself off the mountain stronghold that the giant inhabits, and was fortunate enough to be caught by the mount that brought him up there. So, but what happened was he was cursed, and he put out a call for brave adventurers to essentially finish the job that he was not able to finish. And when you guys went to meet with him, and you all came from different areas and from a different background, but when you went to meet with him, it was somewhat anticlimactic. You expected this great hero, and what you saw instead was this decrepit half-elf that looked like he was prematurely aged. He wasn't wearing the resplendent armor and bedecked with the magic items that you anticipated, but instead had sallow skin and a pale face and was coughing and could barely talk. But what he said was that this group of dwarves had hired him, about a few months ago, to kill a hill giant that had been, a stone giant that had been plaguing their town, that had nearly decimated them. And Jack thought, well, this will be easy. I've dealt with giants much worse than this. So he ascended the mountain and fought the giant. And the giant used some kind of magical blade on him that gave him this curse. Because Jack survived, he has been taking the last few months trying to search for a cure, but has been unsuccessful. But recently he found, at least a rumor, that the very giant that cursed him has an amulet within his hoard that could cure the curse that he's under. So he has asked you to kill the giant. You can keep any treasure that the giant has, and all that he asks is that you bring him the amulet when you're done. He tells you that you would need to travel to the dwarven village and that they will assist you in ascending the mountain to the giant stronghold. So you guys go to this village, and when you get there, it's an above ground village. Most dwarven villages in this land are under the mountain or underground. This one is not, and it looks like a slum. It looks like it's survived a war. The people are they're all dwarves, but they've all been, has just been terrible to them. So you enter this town, and what I'd like to do is take a moment and have you guys introduce yourselves and your characters, and maybe just a quick background about who you were as an adventurer, or if you have a magic item that is somewhat unique to your character, you could discuss that as well. But why don't we start with Tom, and then we'll go left from there. Solar would be next, and then Josh, and then Chester. So Tom, if you want to start.
So I'm a Larian, a wood elf druid, who with the Outlander background. So I definitely spend most of my time just on my own out in the wild. Didn't really think too much about background the character story background, leaning towards something like maybe he's had trouble with this giant himself, and then he heard that this guy was getting a team together, so he decided he would hook up with the team.
Excellent.
And I just have a +1 longbow as far as the magic item goes.
Okay, good. Good. Solar, you're next.
Peter looks like a very, very large and ugly man, but he's actually a half-orc, which you can only notice when he opens his mouth from his tusks. He is... I don't want to reveal too much about his character, because I'd prefer that, to be shown throughout the game, but he's a paladin, and he wants to fight evil. He's dedicated to hunting anything that hurts or exploits people, and it's basically his deal.
Nice, nice. All right. And Joshua?
Can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I thought I unmuted.
No worries.
Resh Kal is a half drow, like from a barbarian tribe. He is the product of their chief shaman and a slave. His tribe worships the Raven Queen under the spirit name of Mother Raven. He carries with him Sorrow's Ravage, which is actually his pact weapon. He believes that he's been chosen by Mother Raven when, unbeknownst to him, he's actually made a pact with a demon, just presenting himself as the Raven Queen, or a visage version of her. And so he has come to prove his might to his totem spirit.
Excellent, excellent. Cool. All right, Chester?
I'm playing Vidmac, a Goliath Ranger. I didn't really go too much into his background. I did basically the Outlander, and I am basically the hunter and gatherer for my tribe.
Nice.
And part of the reason he left his tribe this time is actually to earn money for the tribe, and that's what he's doing there. And I actually have a massive greatsword on my back, but for the hilts, I can actually remove the hilts and use them as darts, and then they basically come back, and that's my +1 weapon, is the darts.
All right. Awesome. Cool. So, yeah, so you guys all have entered this village, and you would say that by now, just looking at the village, there's probably only about 100 able-bodied dwarven warriors left. There are several times that much population with women and children, but this town is barely surviving. Many of the buildings are ruins. It's mostly a stone village, a dwarven village, but it has clearly been ravaged. They have come to expect you, and you were actually given a name to talk to, a name of the kind of one of the heads of the village, named Bardrum Frostblade. And when you enter the town and you seek him out, you see this old, gnarled dwarf with tattoos on his face, and at this point a scraggly beard, which for anyone who is familiar with dwarves would normally be a major sense of shame. And you find that the people in the village are very excited and happy that you're there. There's this sense of hope that maybe finally they will be free from the oppression and the constant warfare that they have been experiencing. So as you enter the village, and you seek out Bardrum, you also realize that he is the master of the Griffin Aviary. And he talks to you and he says that the mountain is very, very dangerous, that you can't go under the mountain. That's where the dwarves used to live, and they were essentially kicked out. And the first half of the mountain you can't traverse on foot. It's way too dangerous. They've tried it numerous times. It says what you need to do is fly on these griffins up to about the halfway point where there's a nice little clearing that they can land. But he says it's very dangerous because there are wyverns that inhabit the peaks as well, and you may have to contend with them. And he says, and if you're really unlucky, and you probably will be, if that giant sees you, he's going to start hurling some boulders at you. So, if you guys have any questions or you want to ask Bardrum anything, go ahead.
How long will it take to fly there?
Bardrum looks at you and he says, well, it shouldn't take too long, but it all depends on whether those damn winged beasts find you or not. And boy, if that giant starts hurling those stones, well, these griffins are trained, and this ain't their first time flying up there, but you got a big boulder flying at you, that's enough to spook even a trained griffin.
There's one giant.
He says, there's one giant that you got to worry about. He does have some family up there, but mostly he's got trolls that are under his thrall.
Maybe this will be a challenge after all.
And he kind of looks around at the village, and he says, well, if that cheating bastard Jack Giantbane couldn't take out this giant, I suspect it is a challenge.
He didn't look like much of a warrior to me.
Indeed, he looks weak.
It's funny too because you notice that this dwarf, and really any of the dwarves in the village, don't seem at all shocked or even upset that there is a half-orc and elf, and the rest of you guys, which they don't normally have a lot of experience with. So where normal or dwarven villages have the regular prejudices that they would for their race, this village does not. But yeah, Bardrum looks to you and he's like, well. And you can tell that he feels a little bit of sympathy, and he says, well, he was a mighty warrior once, but whatever happened to him up there, all we know is all of a sudden one of the griffins goes shrieking off, just tears out of its cage and goes flying up the mountain, and before I know what happened, he comes down with Jack nearly dead on his back. We tried to nurse him to health, but he almost didn't make it.
Griffins sense that?
Yeah, he says these griffins, when you pair with them, they will be able to sense you, and you'll be able to communicate telepathically with them. Not permanently, mind you, but for a few hours anyway.
Peter has a tint of childlike wonder to his face.
Surely Mother Raven smiles on these beasts.
You see, Bardrum does have a sense of pride come over his face, and he is the master of the griffins, and he says, well, it took us many years to tame the griffins, but once we did, we realized what a formidable mount they could be. But this mountain, well, it's mighty dangerous, and even as great as these griffins are, there's, it takes a skilled warrior to accomplish what you guys are attempting.
I believe Mother Raven will guide us to victory. She has provided us with winged mounts to see us there.
He says, well, one can hope.
Peter turns to you and grunts. Victory is not what I'm looking for.
And Bardrum looks up and he's like, well, I hope you're looking for victory, at least a little bit. We can't keep living like this. and you see a couple of dwarf children kind of creeping a little closer, clearly interested in this group of adventurers. And you see kind of some of the dwarf women, kind of bringing them back. Come back. Don't bother them. And you see the men, some of them clearly warriors, and you can just see this deep shame in their faces, like they know that they should be able to handle this. I mean, giants are their ancestral foes, and yet here they are relegated to living in what's basically a human type settlement outside of their mountain. So
Why do your caretakers shield the children from us? Obviously, if your warriors cannot provide them with adequate examples, they should look to us for strength.
he looks at you, and you can see this sort of flash of anger come over his face for a minute. Clearly, you've touched on his dwarven pride, and a half drow telling him how to sort of raise his or rule his clan. Well, he doesn't take too kindly to it, and he says, we've been through a lot. I think the time for chatting is over. If you want, you can be about your business, but if you don't think you can do it, well, you might as well leave now.
Worry not. We will save your village.
Or die trying.
Agreed.
Excellent. Well, you might not die trying, Jack didn't die.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some magic involved here that is really holding you guys back. Or giving this giant some extra power that giants don't normally have.
Yeah, and you see when you say that, you see him kind of look away for a minute in a suspicious way, like there's something going on that he either doesn't want to talk about or that is a bit shameful. But he does nod his head. And he points over to to the pen where the griffins are held, and he kind of takes you over and he shows you that they have special saddles. They're very similar to the normal saddle that you would see on a riding horse, but they have a harness mechanism that essentially will allow you to stay on the back of the griffin if it were to go inverted or have to make maneuvers. But he also tells you that they can be ridden without that harness. So if you need to make a quick escape from the back of the griffin, you'll be able to do it.
Right.
I got a couple more questions first, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Absolutely.
So, these giants, they ever attack you out here?
He says, the giant's never come down himself. We've made several raids of his compound in the past, but he mostly uses his troll minions to repel us. He says, it's hard enough getting up the mountain. The first few times we tried to go up through the mountain, but he knows it too well and he's got it blocked off. He says that was a fiery, deadly mistake that we didn't make a second time.
So you're not actually threatened by these giants. So you got any giant? You got any proof the place belongs to you?
He says the village?
I believe
the
he
village, the
means the
mountain.
mountain.
The mountain. He says this has been our home for hundreds of years. What proof would you want?
Whatever you think would prove it. I mean, I can't, how do I know you're not the ones harassing this giant? I can't just walk in there and kill him for no reason.
He says, Jack's word wasn't good enough for you? You saw what he did to him.
Domain belongs to those strong enough to claim it. If they have the wisdom to hire us to claim the mountain for them, it is rightfully theirs.
And he
Is
nods
that
along
right?
and he's like, yeah, that guy, you know, what he's saying.
Is that right? So, if a god decided to take your life for no reason, you'd be fine with that?
Mother Raven would only allow it if it were to be preordained.
Okay, so what if it was an evil god who just wanted your soul for no reason?
Mother Raven guides in all things.
Oh,
We
and I
cannot
suppose, Mother...
understand the workings of beings greater than ourselves.
Right. And giants, are they among them?
If they manage to fell us, then yes.
And at that, you see Bardrum like spit on the ground in disgust, and he's like, "No giant is ever a greater being. They came here. They pushed us out of our mountain home, and you know, we initially." And he kind of stutters for a minute, and he's like, "You know, initially we did have some trouble. They weren't the first ones to kick us out, but when we asked for help in reclaiming our homeland." Help we got, but not the kind we expected. This damn giant and his family took possession and kicked us out of the mountain. We just want to get back into the halls where we once called home for hundreds of years.
Who else kicked you out?
And he looks around, and you can tell that the rest of the village is becoming uncomfortable. It doesn't seem suspicious. This is just a part of their history that they're ashamed of, and they don't like to relive it. And he says, "Well, it was about 300 years ago. We had just come to the mountain, but only there about 25 years. There was a great war ravaging the land, and many of our brethren had died. We were weak. Our soldiers were not. They were fatigued from battle, and a dragon came to the mountain. We fought it as best we could and went deep into the mountain, but it was clever as dragons are, and it rallied frightened minions, orcs, trolls, hill giants, all kinds of nasty creatures to come in there and after us. Well, we made a stand as best we could, and the last of us thought we were dead, and we called for help. And you wouldn't believe it, to our surprise and our deep shame, this giant answered the call. He said that he had history with this mountain, and he would remove that dragon for us. And he did. He went up there and he slayed the dragon, but then he claimed the mountain for his own. He knew the bargain. He knew the deal. But what could we do? We were weak, and he had just slayed a dragon.
So what you're telling us is that you've only owned this mountain for a total of 25 years, and that was 300 years ago?
No. We retreated back into the mountain. It took him a long time to kick us out. But regardless, this mountain is our ancestral home.
Right. Sure it is.
He says, listen, enough time, the chatting's over. You can help or you can leave. It's up to you.
You haven't really convinced me.
He's like, well, you don't need to be convinced. It's your life.
You're not in any danger. You want territory that hasn't been yours for a very long time. And you can't prove it was yours in the first place.
He's like, look around. Look at our village. What do you mean we're not in any danger? We're under constant threat. We're constantly being raided. The giant himself doesn't come down off the mountain, but his foul creatures do. We're constantly being attacked by those nasty trolls, by the wyverns from the mountain and other things.
Peter grows slowly as he's getting the response, like grows this huge grin on his face, and then he says, "All right, then we got a deal."
And Bardrum's taken aback for a minute just at the sudden change, but he's like, "Oh, well, good then. Well, if there's nothing else we can do for you, best be on your way."
Guess so.
Excellent. And so he says, one word of caution. These you'll be able to tell these griffins where you want to go, but they will preserve their own lives over yours. They unfortunately
I wouldn't
we haven't
have it
met
any other way.
He says, "Well, good. If you do get engaged by some wyverns and you want to get in close, you can. But if you can stay at a distance, I highly recommend it."
The Griffins know how to get to this landing?
Yep. He says, "Yes, they know. They'll take you there."
Let us set forth then.
Excellent. So you guys get on the griffins, and it's a little awkward at first, especially for the Goliath, who is not used to traveling on aerial mounts. Peter, though, is very excited because he's normally used to riding around on a war horse, so getting to fly up in the air is pretty exciting. But as you kind of get onto the saddles, you feel this pressure in your head for a minute, and then you feel this almost like this sentient blossoming in the back of your brain. And Bardrum tells you, that's going to happen. That is the Griffin's consciousness, in a sense, melding with your own. He says you'll be able to communicate with it and tell it what to do. Where you want it to go, and if you need it, any kind of tactics or whatever. He says they're well trained, so he says when you're ready.
I did come here on a horse. Where are they going to keep the horse while I'm on the Griffin?
They do have a stable for land mounts as well. You see that they actually have enormous mountain goats that they use as pack animals. And so they've got a stable in there, so they'll put the horse in there. And he says, "Don't worry, we'll keep it safe from the other griffins."
Yeah, that's fine. He can take care of himself. Right, Johnny? And he looks at the horse, and the horse nods his head.
Nice. All right. Well, then off with you. And he kind of gives this little whistle, and as you guys are strapped onto the griffins, they take off into the air. And you can feel the power of their wings beating underneath you as they're climbing and climbing, trying to gain altitude. If you guys want, the standard is to kind of lock yourselves into the restraints. But if you choose not to, that's fine. It only means that if they were to flip, you got to hold on. So.
I can shape change if I need to, so I won't lock on.
Alrighty. Cool.
I will, because better safe than sorry.
Yeah. So as you guys are ascending the mountain, you kind of look around you, and I mean, this mountain is huge. You can see that this is probably one of the tallest mountains in the land. As the wind is rushing past your face and it's getting colder and colder, and there's that whistling, the wind in your ears. For a minute, you're taken aback by just the splendor of this mountain. Of the beauty. You can see waterfalls and just lush green vegetation, which is such a stark contrast to the desolation of the village below you. And as you get higher and higher, you look around and you see that much of the land around the mountain has been laid waste. You can tell that a dragon had done some serious damage to this area at one point. and it hasn't really been, you know, brought back to life. It's largely uninhabited. Um, but there's a lot of foothills around the mountain, and you know, just kind of from this area that there's a lot of savage races, orcs, savage human tribes that kind of inhabit the area. So the dwarves would benefit from getting inside their mountain.
As
And
Reshkal, like, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
As he like rides on his griffin, he keeps in his mind sort of telling the griffin to keep its eyes sharp, um, for any incoming threats. And as he surveys the land and sees the other savage foes, he thinks back to his life tour with his tribe and thinks that this might be a good place for them to come and test their mettle against the dwarves one day.
He says, well, yeah.
Oh,
I think he disappeared.
yeah, he's frozen.
Oh no.
To retcon a little bit, considering we're gonna fight together, Peter probably told you to stick to him, and he'll be able to help you during fights.
Awesome.
Couldn't hurt much. Wonder if he knows he's frozen.
I don't know. If it's anything like the last time I tried to host a live one, then he's probably like still sitting there talking, and he's about to start hearing us going, so what happened? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm back.
Well, we lost Sam.
Alright, our DM is our DM is black. He's been consumed by the void. Shit, the giants got him. All right, guys, we got to get to this mountain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really didn't want to leave like that, but man, my dinner's not agreeing with me, so.
Oh no.
And now that's live on YouTube forever.
Yep. Oh, and on top of that, I tried to turn on my light in the corner, and the bulb blew, so you guys get to see me in darkness here in a little bit once it gets, darker outside.
Oh no. That sucks. We lost power.
Did I miss much, though, when I left? Last thing I knew
Nah,
that
man,
we were about to fly up to the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. We got on the Griffins and we're headed out, and he was describing like what we saw as we flew. And that's pretty much where we are currently.
Peter need convinced that these dwarves deserve to be saved.
Totally out of character. What oath are you, Peter?
Let me just check what it's called. Vengeance.
Oh, nice.
Seems like everybody picks vengeance.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's my first paladin ever.
Yeah. That's that on the OSG, like that's pretty much like the standard. Like most of the time, if somebody's playing Paladin, it's Vengeance.
The
My
thing is,
personal favorite is actually Devotion, though.
I looked through all of them, and I made the character first, and like I really like this character, and like I was thinking which one would fit the most. I actually had to like make some stuff work, but most of Vengeance fits this kind of paladin. Once again, I don't want to be too spoilery about it because it might be fun if some of it's revealed during the thing. But yeah,
Oh yeah, dude, it's cool.
Vengeance actually doesn't seem like the most fun oath, honestly.
I think it's just the most damage-centric oath.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about making a nature paladin, basically. But I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know,
dude.
like, all the story
Oath of the
stuff I
Ancients is
wanna go
super
with.
cool. Like, I didn't even know how cool Oath of the Ancients was until I, like, really read over it.
What's cool about it? It sounds a
It
bit
doesn't
weird.
really get, like, uber awesome until you're higher level, but, I mean, you eventually get, like, Stone Skin as a spell, so you just have resistance to all damage, like, that isn't magical. You get, I don't know, it's
I mean,
got
what's
some of
cool about
the...
the
Well, and
what's cool about them
there's an
lore-wise?
aura that you get.
Hey guys, sorry.
There's. Oh, we're back.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry. All of a sudden lost power. I'm like, go figure. That's awesome. So, did you guys complete the mission while I was gone?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right.
We just started dive
And
bombing
we even killed the
giant
dragon on top of it, too.
griffins, and we just basically pecked it to death slowly but surely.
Awesome.
We didn't even get
And we
off,
dragged them out,
and then we just then we flew back,
Nice, nice.
and we were like, "Hey, so we really like that mountain. We're gonna keep that." No, I'm just
We're gonna
kidding.
keep it. Yeah. Awesome. No, that's cool. So, yeah. So no, we'll get back to it then. So, as you guys were descending or ascending, I should say, the mountain, you do hear this just shriek all of a sudden pierce the air, and the griffins, you can sense this sense of not alarm but almost of anticipation, and a couple of them, especially the one carrying the half orc and the one carrying the elf. These two seem to have almost a sense of like anticipation, like all right, we're getting ready for a fight.
I'm gonna like mentally tell the griffin I'm riding. How do you feel how do you feel about ramming that shit? Sounds like fun. Animal check.
He says ramming. He doesn't know about that. He's excited to have a warrior on his back that might be able to fight, but he's a little nervous to get in super close.
I'm cool either way, man.
Yeah, and as you kind of look over to the mountain, it almost looks like the mountain is moving for a moment. But then as your eyes kind of narrow in, you see three kind of winged shapes emerge from the mountain and start coming towards you. And what I'm going to have you guys do is roll initiative, but you can clearly tell that these are griffins. Or not griffins, wyverns.
Natural 20. Which
Nice.
means I'm done for the day. Every roll from here on out will be a 5 or less.
Of course, yeah. And if you can actually post the initiative in the chat, that'd be great.
My 21 wasn't natural, but still, it's a 20.
Yeah, same here. Not natural, but I got it.
Nice. All right. So it looks like Tom has the highest initiative. So Tom, your character gets to act first. You see these 3 wyverns kind of flying in, almost like they're flying in formation. And you would say that they are probably about, I don't know, less than 200 feet away, and they're flying fast. So you would anticipate in about a round or two they're going to be engaged with you.
All right. So I want to cast Call Lightning, I think.
All right.
Let's waste no time on these things.
Absolutely.
So let's see here. So the range is 120 feet.
Okay.
Um,
Yep. So that's fine. So you can move in, so you'll be within that range.
okay. Let's find the area of effect here. Oh, within 5 feet of that point. So are they by chance so close into formation that I can get more than one of them?
Yeah, I would say within 5 feet you would be able to strike at least 2 of them. Now, is there a dexterity save or anything?
I'm sure there is.
Okay, it's probably half damage.
If they can fly that close to each other, can we?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can fly, within formation, either next to each other or, one in front of the other.
Okay. Yeah, so they get a dex save of 15.
Okay, and what is that? Does that allow them to avoid or take half damage?
Half.
Half damage. Okay. Call lightning. Nice. 3d10 lightning damage.
Uh-huh.
Yikes. All right. Cool. Yeah. Go for it. So. Ooh. And so you make a ranged spell attack. I'm assuming.
No, I think.
Oh no! It just.
Because it's
Oh
either
yeah, you just do it.
right.
Nice.
It's always either, as far as I know, it's always one or the other. Either you make the
Yep.
attack or they make the save.
Yeah, so go ahead and you cast the bolt. Go ahead and roll your damage, and kind of describe what it looks like.
Okay. So yeah, we're flying towards them. I see them coming, and decide to. I'll give my griffin a name.
Yep.
I don't know. Charger. Okay.
Okay.
So, or he probably already has a name. What am I thinking?
No, his name is Charger.
It happens to be Charger.
Yep. Yeah, I'll let you guys do that if you want. You're gonna have a lot of agency in that regard. So.
All right. So I just kind of not shake, but like you said, with anticipation, the reins of Charger and push him forward, and then while he's flying in, the cloud slowly forms over my head, and the bolts just streaks down towards the middle one and shocks all 3 of them.
Nice, nice. And how much did you roll for your damage?
I rolled 19.
19 damage? Okay. So you, as this lightning calls down and you see it kind of fork into, into 2 of them, you see that they actually do break apart so that, they're affected by the lightning, but you can hear them let out this just shriek of anger, and they, one of them gets kind of clipped on the wing a little bit and it spins a little bit, but then it's just coming barreling right at you. Like they all hone in and they're coming at you. Nice thing is though, you are first in the order and they are not second. So Josh and Chester, you both have 20s. Who wishes to go next? Either one of you can go.
I'll cede my initiative to Chester.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll go first. How fast can our griffins fly? Like, can we reach them in melee range?
Yeah, not within. It would take basically 2 rounds. Although what I'll say is, if you want, you can actually take a dash action, and so that would get you within melee range, but you wouldn't be able to attack in a melee attack anyway. It
I'll
wouldn't next
hold off.
round.
What
Okay.
I'll do is I'll pull 2 of the darts out from
Mhm.
my great sword
Okay.
and basically fly a little bit closer and just wait, basically kind of baiting myself for them to
Mhm.
attack me, and wait for them to get into range, and then basically using my reaction, or not
Mhm.
reaction, holding my action to attack
Yep, when
whoever
they
gets
enter
close.
range. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool.
I'm going to say 50 feet because
Yep.
the range of the darts are actually 20, so I'm going to actually give myself disadvantage to try to throw it a little bit further. So I'm going to say 50 feet. I'm going to try to throw both darts.
Okay, absolutely. Um, cool. So that's good. Um, so then, Josh, I guess you're next.
All right, so Rush Cal is gonna fly forward and advance, in the similar fashion as the druid, and he grabs the raven skull around his neck, and he said, "Mother Raven, allow me to destroy these as you did Sister Spider," and he casts Chill Touch on one of the wyverns.
Nice. Do you want to do it on one of the ones that have already been hit by the lightning, or the other one that is so far undamaged?
Yeah, no, I'll do it on the one of the ones that's been hit by the lightning already.
Okay, cool.
So
For
it
range
needs,
spell attack.
yeah,
All right. And then you do 2d8, I believe, because you're
correct.
yeah. Okay.
So attack roll, a 15.
That hits.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so why don't you describe your attack and let me know how much damage you deal.
Basically, he after he says his little prayer to Mother Raven, you see the raven skull around his neck. The eyes sort of get this ominous like purple glow, and you basically just see these two like bolts of purple energy just fire out from the two eyes of the raven skull necklace, and basically into the eyes of the wyvern, as you see like its flesh sort of very slightly begin to like desiccate and dry.
Excellent.
And 9 damage.
Nice.
And he cannot regain any hit points until his next round, just
Cool.
in case this wyvern can somehow heal.
Yeah, nice. And in fact, you as you hit it right in the eye, you see that it definitely affects its flight, and it kind of shudders and jolts a little bit and knocks into its other companion next to it. And for a moment, they kind of start to free fall, and they quickly regain their flight. But clearly, this one is definitely hurt, and it seems like it's going to have a hard time. Um, but they're still charging at you. Now, the one that you hit has now diverted and wants to attack you. But the other ones are still gunning for Tom. And in that note, they actually close within range, but because they were far enough out, they're not able to attack this round. But they would get within melee range. But before they do that, um, I think Chester, you were waiting, right, to use your reaction.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
basically now going to throw my 2 darts at them.
Okay.
Um, I'm assuming a 12 misses and a 25 hits.
That's correct.
Okay. Wow, I just forgot all my strength and everything I'm supposed to add.
Oh,
8
you for
damage.
8 damage?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I have it all in my head, and
Yep.
then as soon as I rolled the dice, I was like, what am I supposed to add?
You're like, wait, what? No, that's cool. So, were you injuring the one that has been essentially attacked twice, or the uninjured one?
I want to say whichever one came in the 50-foot radius. Oh, I forgot to roll that at disadvantage. You want me to
No, don't worry about
re-roll?
it. No,
Okay.
it's all good.
I completely spaced that. But like whichever, basically the first one that came up, that's the one I chucked both darts at.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
whichever one you want to clarify that as.
Yeah, so that won't be the one that was hit by the chill touch, but it was his companion that he nearly knocked off balance, but that one kind of flew back in and re-engaged. So yeah, you throw your darts out, and you see one goes kind of flying and veers kind of off as the wind takes it, and then you guys all see that it kind of loops around and comes right back into the hilt where it was originally thrown from. The other one pierces and sticks into the wyvern for a minute, and then the wyvern shrieks in pain as that happens, but then it shrieks again as you see the dart kind of rip itself out of the flesh of the wyvern and streak back and again return into into the little device that it was in, the hilt of the sword. So, and with that, Solar, you're up.
I kind of got lost in the last like 30 seconds or so. Are all of them still alive?
All of them are still alive. One of them, we'll say Wyvern 1 has been damaged both by the lightning and the chill touch. Wyvern 2 was damaged by the lightning and
No, it's
one
cool.
of
It's
the
cool.
darts.
I don't care who was
And then
damaged.
the third one is not. Okay.
I'm gonna just attack the two biggest ones. Okay, I want to relay this idea to the griffin I'm riding. I want to relay the idea of the two of us flying slightly over the wyverns,
Yep.
and then me stretching out my arms and grabbing both of them, flying past them and grabbing two of the wyverns and pulling them to the ground and throwing them at the ground.
Okay. Yeah. You can definitely attempt to do that. I would say in that case make, what is it, athletics, which is the strength-based one.
I don't think there's a specific check for that kind of thing. I'd
Yeah.
say like grappling.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to have you make an athletics check since you want to use strength.
Okay.
But yeah, you can attempt. These creatures are definitely bigger than you, so I don't think it would be possible for you to grab two.
Okay.
But you could certainly attempt to do that with one.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
That's a 15 total.
Okay. So you kind of reach out as you sort of lean off the griffin and you try to reach out to the wyvern and grab it. And for a minute, were you going to try to grab it and thrust it or just kind of like push it?
No, I was gonna grab it and then
Yeah.
pull it as we fly to the ground.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. So for a moment, you grab onto its nasty scaled mane, and then it gives this just mighty jerk and just rips free of you and lets out this horrible shriek as it disengages from your grasp. And so now I believe we are back to the top of the order. And Tom, you are up again.
For the record, I'm now I'm now below like two of them at least.
Yep. Gotcha.
So can the griffins attack?
They can. They prefer not to because it's difficult for them to fly and attack, but they certainly can. And if you want it to, it will attempt to do so.
All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to jump off, use a bonus action to change into a giant eagle, and then Charger and I will gang up on. Well, no, that won't work. Well, I would like to be able to give Charger advantage on his attack while I use my action to call lightning on a different wyvern.
Okay, gotcha. Boy, I see what you're saying. I think what you can do in this case is make an athletics. No, make an acrobatics check for dexterity to see if you can kind of help fly the griffin into an attack range while you attempt to cast a spell.
Well, the spell was already cast.
Right, but oh, is it a recurring spell or is it just?
I think it's recurring, if I read it correctly.
Yeah,
Okay,
as long as
yeah,
it's the concentration spell, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, so then in that case, what I'll do is I'll have you. I think I'm going to have you make what is concentration, so it'll be a Constitution check, just to make sure that you can still concentrate. But it shouldn't be too hard. I would say DC 13.
Constitution save.
Mm-hmm.
And I roll an 8. Okay.
So what you can do in that case is you can't have the griffin come in for an attack and cast the spell, but you feel the spell's energy start to dissipate, and the griffin kind of senses that as well and kind of stabilizes himself a little bit, allowing you to still continue casting that spell if you wish. But he's just kind of trying to fly around but not actually engage the wyvern if he can help it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep the spell going and I'll cast call another bolt of lightning down on one of these guys.
Alrighty.
I assume they're spread out now, and one that's not engaged with a teammate.
Yeah, the one that you originally damaged is coming at you. He's ready for you. He's right there, ready to try to kill you. So if you want, you can attack him.
Yeah, let's give him another dose of lightning.
Nice.
13 this time, and the DC was 15.
Yep, and he takes the full amount. You said you dealt him 13?
Right.
Nice. Yeah, so go ahead and describe that and what that looks like.
Yeah, well, this time, since I'm only focusing on one, I'm able to get that bolt right on him, make it harder to dodge, and yeah, it just crackles and hopefully throws him off balance a little bit.
Nice. Cool, yeah, and as the lightning crashes into him, you kind of see the bolts of lightning kind of ripple down his back for a minute to his barbed tail, and he definitely for a minute kind of tries to disengage, but then you can certainly tell he's enraged, and so as he's flying around, and your griffin is, you guys are kind of circling each other in the air, and he then re-engages and lets out this just piercing shriek. But Chester, you get to take the next action.
Okay. Are these wyverns coming up from below us, or are they coming basically like straight at us?
They were coming up from below you. But at this point, they would only be slightly below you because they've basically gotten within range.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna go, like, my Goliath is gonna kind of stand there for a second, on his griffin. He's gonna pull out his great sword and he's gonna tap the griffin on the head, and he's like, "Okay, birdie, catch me." And he jumps off, and he's gonna go for the wyvern that's going after the druid. And
Yep.
I'm going to, with my first attack, I would like to try to attempt chop off at his head, and then as I falling down, make another hack at his body.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to have you do two things. One, I'm going to have you give me an athletics. No, I'm going to have you give me an acrobatics check first to make sure that
really?
you can Yeah, make sure you can leap.
Oh, my athletics was +7. Acrobatics is +2. I got a 13.
Okay. Yeah, so with the Griffin's help, understanding what you're trying to do, he sort of maneuvers himself in a way, and as you jump, he kind of bucks a little bit and sort of launches you, and you kind of go flying at this wyvern with your sword. Go ahead and make an attack roll,
Okay.
and I'll let
You,
you know their armor class is 13, so if you hit, if you get a 13 or higher, you hit.
okay. Yes, I hit with both.
Okay.
Um, alrighty. 9 for the first,
Okay.
and then oh wow, that sucked. 4, 7 for the second.
Okay. Nice. So why don't you kind of describe what this looks like as you leap off the griffin and then go to attack?
Yeah, it's basically what I said before. He taps the griffin on top of the head, and he just grabs it with both hands above his head and just jumps off. And as he comes closer to the wyvern, he swings it straight down and whacks the wyvern almost or exactly straight in between its eyes, but he didn't get it at the right angle, and the blade kind of just bounces off. And then as he's falling down, probably towards the stomach area, he does a spin maneuver and tries to cut it at the stomach, but again, like its armor or its hide just catches the blade just right where it still hits and does a little bit of damage, but it's not the damage that he was looking for, and the blade kind of flings out.
Okay.
Is that one of the ones I'm under?
No, that one isn't. This was the one that was attacking Tom's character, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's great. Now, did you attempt to grab onto the wyvern, or were you going to make your attack and then let yourself fall?
I'm letting myself fall, and I'm hoping my bird will come down and save my ass before I go splat. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
was planning.
So he does. He comes. You can see him. I mean, almost rocketing as you're, as you're falling. You kind of barrel roll yourself so that you're looking up, hoping, beyond all hope that this griffin will come down and catch you. And the dwarf was good to his word. He just comes rocketing. I mean, you can see his wings just like swept back, like he's diving down to catch you. And you're falling, and he's diving, and he kind of swoops right over you and grabs you in his talons. And it hurts a little bit, but not enough to deal any damage. And he kind of grabs you, and then he slows his descent a little bit, beating his wings, and he kind of makes this as maneuver as much as he can, considering your race, and kind of maneuvers you so that you can kind of reach yourself back up on and get up into the saddle. He rolled really well, so that was good. All right, and Josh, you're up next.
All right, so Reshkal like pushes into his mind where he can like see the griffin's thoughts and sort of see through the griffin's eyes, and he shows the griffin the image of himself, the griffin flying like dead at the wyvern that's currently coming towards them, and then immediately before hitting, like flipping upside down and flying over the griffin. And as the griffin like goes and does this, he attempts to swing his great axe Sorrow's Ravage like into this wyvern's wing in an attempt to try to like shear it off of the creature.
Nice, nice. Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and roll for your attack.
So 2 attacks, and I am using my Great Weapon Master, so these are both with only a +2.
Okay.
A crit, and then an 18.
Yeah, so those both hit. So for the crit, just go ahead and roll your damage and just double it. You don't need to roll twice for it.
Okay, roll and double. Okay.
Yep. And were you were attacking? Yeah, you were attacking the one that you had attacked before, right?
Yeah, the one that I had already hit with Chill Touch.
Yep.
So damage from the first attack is going to be a 30 total.
Nice.
And then the second attack is going to be an 21.
Wow. Jesus.
Just a flesh wound.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Yeah. So you injured this one bad. Are you? So you were sort of flying and making your attack kind of like
Yeah,
underneath
like
him, you
as
said, and try
yeah,
to swipe his wing
because
out.
I'm locked into the griffin. So as
Yep.
the griffin turned upside down to go over him, I just came double-handed over into this wyvern's wing with Sorrow's Ravage, and basically like tried to hold it there as the griffin flew past to attempt
Nice.
to like tear its wing off.
Yeah, and you put a nasty gash, like a big kind of gape in its wing, and it's clearly hurt. I mean, it actually starts to fly away from you. It's like, forget this. I'm not getting in here. But then you hear this shriek from the one that Solar had kind of, and that is now underneath, and the wyvern kind of circles around, and then he comes back and re-engages, but he's clearly hurt and he's having a hard time flying. So he hasn't completely left the combat, but he almost did. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Oh, wait,
Go ahead.
was that one of the ones I was under?
No, not yet. The one that you were under kind of seemed like it was yelling at him, like, "What are you doing? Get back in the fight."
Oh, okay.
That's the
I thought
impression you got.
the circling one was shrieking, and I was like, wait, why is he above me now?
No, not yet. All right, and so now it's the wyvern's turns, and Tom, what is your armor class again?
15, I think.
Okay, so the wyvern attacks you, and it first tries to attack you with a big nasty stinger that it's got on its back, and it does, dealing you 11 points of piercing damage, and I need you to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw.
And I just make it.
Okay, good. So you take 12 points of poison damage as you feel the stinger ooze its nasty poison into you.
So I took 11 from the stinger and then 12 from the poison.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yep. Oh, it gets worse, my friend. He also makes a bite attack as he kind of lashes into you with his stinger, and then he kind of pulls you in close, and with his beak, kind of he rips at you. Well, not his beak. He doesn't have a beak. He's got just jagged teeth, and hits you for another 11 points of damage. Yep. So you can feel that poison sort of coursing through you, but I'm assuming that you are still in positive hit points. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that's good. Solar, what is your armor class?
18.
Okay. The wyvern attempts to attack you, and he swoops down on you, trying to make like a dive attack, and as he passes by you, he attempts to get you with his stinger, but your griffin is anticipating this move, and it does this cool little aerial juke, just enough to kind of dodge you out of the way, and you kind of slap at the stinger as it's coming by you, so it manages to miss you, and then it comes around for another attack and tries to bite you. But as it comes around, it gets in real close to you, and the griffin kind of maneuvers itself in a way that you kind of like actually, as a way of fending off the attack, you kind of punch the griffin in the face as a way to sort of deflect it as he's coming by. And then, do we have, I think, Josh, you're engaged with the other wyvern, right?
Correct.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, jeez. He rolled with his...
The other being the other one of the two above me also is the one who attacked me disengaging.
He's not disengaging from you, no. But he was unsuccessful in hitting you with both of his attacks.
Okay.
Um,
Let me know. Let me know when anything around me is trying to attack allies.
Okay, well, so yes, one of the other griffins is trying to attack your ally, Josh,
Cool.
at this point.
I'm gonna use my reaction to give him disadvantage.
Okay, you actually don't have to in this case because this griffin already has disadvantage, and he rolled really well both times. So you get the same treatment, Josh. You get 11 points of damage from his stinger, and then you need to make the DC 15 Constitution save to avoid the poison damage.
Okay. Nope.
If you're near me, within 10 feet, you also get +2 to the saving throw.
Oh. No, I still wouldn't make it.
Okay. Yep, so in that case, you take a full 24 points of poison damage.
Okay.
Yep, and you feel, and it basically just, like, his tail comes and it just jabs right into, your arm. The griffin attempted to kind of get out of the way, but it wasn't quick enough as the wyvern kind of comes up over on top of it, and then it makes, as its tail stinger is stuck into your body, it comes down and it just bites you right on the shoulder with its huge maw, and you take another 10 points of damage.
Okay.
But as a reaction, the griffin attempts to use its claws to attack, and he hits with 1. So that's good. 11 points. All right, cool. So the griffin manages, because this wyvern's basically right on top of him, he goes and slashes at him with one of his claws, dealing him some damage. So that's good. And this one is clearly hurt. I mean, this griffin is probably, maybe one more good shot away from either dying or disengaging.
You mean wyvern?
Yeah, sorry, the wyvern. My apologies. But now Solar gets to take his action.
So I'm gonna suggest to the griffin I'm riding to rise above and like disrupt the two wyverns above us, like their flight, like shake them off balance. And as I'm flying up, I'm gonna try and hit one from below with my flail and hit the other one from above in like a huge arc.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So I guess, yeah, with your first attack, you kind of maneuver your griffin over towards the one that... Well, I guess you want to probably attack the one that was attacking you first, right? And then you'll go for the other one.
I'm attacking the one that's on my left, and I don't care who attacked me.
Okay. So if you're attacking the one that was just attacking Josh, that would be the one to your left. The one that was attacking you was on
That's
your
fine.
right. Yep, okay. So that's fine. So you can make an attack.
18 total.
Yep, you definitely hit him.
Okay, and then I'm going to... was that the one that looked hurt?
The one that was attacking you really didn't look hurt.
All right.
I mean, it took a little bit of damage from your punch, but...
So I'm not quite sure, but considering that's... I mean, this is what I got from the ability... just a second. So Divine Smite says that when an attack hits, I can choose to deal more damage with a spell slot. So I don't have to announce that up front, right?
Right. No, that's fine. You can decide after you hit, and you do hit. So.
So I'm gonna spend first level spell slot and deal a 2d8 bonus damage. So
Nice.
it's total 3d8 plus 4.
Wow. Damn.
14 damage. And as I see that the blow is gonna connect like a millisecond before it touches the wyvern, this light glows in my I have these well, not my character has
Yeah.
these skeletal tattoos on his hands that depict the bones under, which is his holy symbol.
Mhm.
And from they start to glow, and from that glow it spreads to the flail, and the flail like hits the wyvern with radiant force. That's basically it.
Nice, nice. And
The
your
other
divine energy. Go ahead.
the other attack is 8, so
Oh, you rolled an 8. Okay. So the first attack actually lands a killing blow. As you hit it with your flail, you see that there's this burst of that radiant white light, like you said, and then all of a sudden it seems like this light just consumes, like the wyvern is like almost like lit up from the inside. You can see, and then its whole body just shatters apart with this radiant white light as it just kind of. And for a minute, everyone. Just for like a split second is almost blinded by this radiant light, and then your vision kind of returns to you, and you can feel this sense of elation in the griffins, like they're like, yes, this is great, and this admiration. But then you go to make your second attack, and for some reason the gods weren't with you on that one because you missed.
blinded by the light.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. The two other wyverns are they're startled by this, but they manage to stay in combat and stay engaged. And so, Tom, you get to take your action now.
I'm going to cast. Do I still feel the effects of the poison, or was that like a one?
No, that was a one-time thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to cast a cure on myself at 3rd level, which is a pathetic only 9 points that I heal.
Okay.
I could have done that with the 1st level if I'd rolled right, but well. So then, as a bonus action, I'm going to shapeshift into a giant eagle and fly off in just a different direction, put some space between the wyverns, me, and my griffin.
Okay. So, and what do you instruct the griffin to do? Do you want him to stay in the fight and fight the wyvern, or do you want him to kind of come back and give you protection?
If he wants to fight, I certainly think he can fight.
He does.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you can tell he wants to fight this guy. All right, nice. So, yeah, and so your griffin does. He actually launches 2 attacks with his claws against the wyvern, and he is successful in hitting him with 1 attack. So, he does deal him some damage as he rakes this wyvern. And the whole time, I mean, it looks almost like one of those, like, World War II dogfights. I mean, you guys are just circling each other. The eagle that is, that is now kind of disengaged, has gone back a little bit in an attempt to kind of recuperate, or at least gain a little bit of, distance before re-engaging. And this wyvern lets out just a shriek of pain, but now he's focused on this griffin, and he's out for blood. But Chester gets to go next. So there's the wyvern that is still engaged with the griffin is fairly damaged, and the other one that is still alive has not really been hit very much.
Okay. I'm assuming I'm below everyone at this point because I've fallen off and my griffin had to come and get me.
Yep,
so what I'm
your way
going
back, yeah.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is on my way up, I'm going to throw 2 darts at the one that was wounded, but I'm still heading up towards the one that's at the higher altitude.
Okay, yeah, great.
How far away are they? Are they within 20 feet or?
Oh yeah, at this point definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 and 12. I'm assuming the 12 misses.
Yes. Are those with your modifiers?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The 12 misses. The 15 does hit though.
Okay. And that is. Oh, I wanted to say I'm gonna use. No, I'm not. Never mind. Um, that's 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay. Great. So you're again the same thing. Your dart kind of as you throw it and it goes streaking like an arrow at him and lodges into his face. And you kind of see the wyvern kind of shake for a minute and kind of claw at his face. But then the dart rips out of his flesh again and returns to you. The other one, it was almost like in like if you've ever seen Top Gun when they shoot their missiles and they miss. It's just like, but then it returns to you. And then, are you then going to come within melee range, or are you going to kind of stay out of melee range?
I was planning on staying out of melee range. Like, I'm going past this guy and heading up to the one that's further up, so that way I can help out with that fight. Because it looks like these two down here, my two companions, should be able to finish this one off because he's wounded.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's fine. And then, so yeah, Josh, you get to go next. Oh, I think you're muted because I can't hear you.
All right.
There we go.
There, yeah. He again, Reshkal sort of projects an image into the Griffin's mind of him like circling back around, and kind of doing a dive over the top of this wyvern that's engaged with the other Griffin that's so injured, as he does so, he takes his Sorrow's Ravage and tries to hack off this wyvern's tail.
Nice. Yeah, go for it, and you can make an attack.
All right. So that's going to be a 15 and a 10. I know the 10 misses, so.
Yeah, so the 15 definitely hits.
All right. It's going to be 16 damage.
Nice. All right. Yeah, so you definitely injure it to the point that you deal a pretty big slash right into his tail. You didn't hack off the barb, which you might have been hoping for, but this guy he's hurt, and he actually attempts to flee. He doesn't want to have any more of this fight, and because he's trying to disengage from you, you do get to make an opportunity attack against him.
Woot. All right. 16.
Oh yes, you hit.
Haha. As my friend calls it, ghetto crit. So 25 damage.
Oh yeah. You kill him. So you can describe how you kill him.
All right. As this wyvern goes to sort of like circle and fly away, he has to kind of curve and swoop over my Griffin and I. At which point he just lashes out with his great axe and catches the wyvern like right at the edge of the mouth, just like tearing its mouth and neck open. And blood gushes everywhere as the wyvern then like goes hurtling to the ground.
Nice. Yeah, and you can see it. Its dead form just plummeting, like all wings out, like just kind of falling, and you can tell that it may not land on the village, but it's gonna land somewhere in the vicinity. So hopefully these guys are gonna get out of the way because there's fallen wyvern coming down on them.
Dinner tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
If I consider that it could actually cause some damage or actually hurt anyone if it fell, I'm gonna try and catch it.
You want to try to catch it? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You swoop down, and do you want to try to like catch it yourself, or have your griffin do it, or kind of a combination of the both of you?
Combination of the both. Like, I just wanted not to hurt anyone,
Okay.
when it falls.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of, both of you kind of grab this dead, falling form, and the griffin kind of, with its powerful paws, just kind of thrusts it kind of out, and it arcs, and you can tell that it's arcing away from the village, so it's not gonna hit anyone.
Perfect.
The remaining wyvern leaves. It flees. It's getting out of the way. It's not going to take on four of you guys. So it doesn't return exactly to the spot that it was at before. It kind of circles around and goes behind the mountain. So it's left.
So my call lightning has a range of 120 feet. Can I get it one last shot before it gets away?
Yes, you can. And it fails its save, so it does take a blast of lightning as it's fleeing, and kind of it hits the wing and it makes it kind of fall down, and probably plummet about 40 feet before it manages to regain its flight and kind of circle around the mountain. So, but then it does leave. So you can try to follow it if you want, but the Griffins are saying that they now should have a clear path to the landing about halfway up the mountain if you guys want to land.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah? All right, perfect. So you guys come flying in, and you can see this sort of plateau on the mountain as the Griffins start to slowly descend, and they're coming in kind of fast at first, and then as they get closer to this kind of flat area on the mountain, they start to kind of beat their wings a little slower, and it's almost like a slow kind of hover landing, and they all land on the ground. They actually they circle it a couple of times first just to make sure there's nothing there. But when they don't see anything, and you guys can't see anything that would indicate there being any danger, so you guys are able to land successfully. And the Griffins state that they will stay here, but if anything comes to attack them, they're going to try to stay right around this area, but they may have to actually fly away a little bit. So.
As soon as we hit the ground, I'm gonna hop off my griffin and, well, I'm gonna hop off and then turn around and pat it on the head and say "good birdie," and then go over to Josh's character, which I completely forgot his name, and I'm gonna pull out a few bandages and start wrapping where he got hurt and basically heal him for 10 points of damage.
Nice.
Awesome. And after he gets bandaged up, thank you, my stony friend. He goes over to the griffin and he sort of pats it on the side of the neck. You have made Mother Raven proud. And you see him tear a piece of cloth off of his, or a piece of leather off of his, leather pants, and he produces a raven feather from a pouch on his belt, and he ties it to it, and then ties it around the griffin's barding.
Nice.
So, who was it that jumped off their griffin?
That was me, Vimac.
Oh, you're the Goliath, right?
Yes.
Even better. Even better. So first, Peter's gonna mentally ask the griffin how much farther he's been up the mountain.
The Griffin?
Yeah.
He tells you that he's flown higher up the mountain. He's flown to the top, but there's no safe place to land, and it's actually super dangerous because it's open. It can be seen from where the giant lives, so he doesn't like to go up there because they throw rocks at him.
How much further is the top? Or anywhere giants live?
Yeah, he would say that it would take you on foot maybe a couple hours to get to the top.
Thanks. You did good, by the way. And I say that out loud, and I pet the griffin. Yeah. Then I turned towards the Goliath, which by the way I don't actually know her name because we've never introduced ourselves in the world. But I go up to you and I say, "That was some nice jumping. You have a wish or something?" And he holds out his hand and you see his skeletal like outer tattoo, like for a handshake, and he says, "Well done."
The same. Which hand are you putting out?
The right one, but both of them have the tattoo.
Okay, he's gonna stick out his right hand and grab the back of your hand and shake it. And he's like, "Thank you." And no, I don't have a death wish. I just like a challenge, and it's been a while since I've had one.
You'll be a pleasure to
Fortune,
fight with.
I'm
fortune
sorry. Can you
favors the
repeat that?
bold, or so you are fond of saying, I hear.
I said you'll be a pleasure to fight with, but I think he said fortune favors the bold.
Okay.
Excellent. So as you guys look around you, you realize that you're basically on this little almost sort of a bare stone, almost outcrop. Like it's this part of the mountain that looks like it may have been actually sort of worked on to be a spot where creatures could take off and land from at one point. But it's all rock. There aren't any trees immediately around you, probably within about a 40-foot radius. But then as you kind of look up the mountain, you do see that there's a clear path, um, or what you would assume is a path. But it is sort of surrounded by dense tree cover, and you would be the large rock wall on your one side and kind of the cliff face on the other. So.
I'm going to change back into human form and cast a couple cures on myself.
Alrighty, absolutely. So that's
Uh,
fine. Yep.
You guys
Go
mind
ahead.
if
Can
I take a minute break to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, actually, why don't we do that? Let's take a few minutes. Go to the bathroom, get some water, and we'll come back in like 5 minutes.
All right, I'm back.
Alrighty.
I drink a lot of water.
That's good.
It's supposed to be good for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I needed to take a break. Sorry for interrupting the gameplay.
No, that was a good time to take that, definitely.
Okay. So I'm thinking maybe.
Call Lightning's a concentration spell for 10 minutes. So I'll keep concentrating on it.
Okay. Yep.
It's relevant.
Absolutely.
It's a concentration spell, so do you get like repeat damage or? Sorry for interrupting the game.
Right. Each round you can spend an action to call another bolt down.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's 3d6 or 3d10 every round.
Yeah, you said it's 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So 100 rounds of lightning bolts every round.
Is it like limited to an area or something?
There's a cloud that follows me like over my head. So yeah, there is this 60-foot radius cloud above my head.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I mean, so it could be 100 feet above it, but still.
So you're like literally that sad character from the cartoons with the little rain cloud like floating above your head as you walk down the street.
Awesome.
Yeah, except he's like one of the like really angry characters that like everything just seems to go their way. So the cloud's attacking people he doesn't like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
right.
annoying person that comes up to him on the street, lightning bolts just like. Oh, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
I
like it.
Real quick, before we continue on, I'm going to say a little prayer to the Raven Queen and cast False Life on myself.
Okay, and what does that do?
I just get a D4 plus 4 temporary hit points.
Okay.
It lasts for an hour.
Oh, all right, nice.
I'm thinking if I should summon my horse here.
8 hit points.
What's that?
Go ahead. I don't forget your
Solar?
name.
Solar, yeah.
It's easier than Dushan, but either way is fine with me. Right, I was thinking, so my character is contemplating out loud if he should summon his horse here or if he's going to be fine on foot. Because the horse is really fun to charge on.
Yeah, the horse would have very difficult time with this terrain because you're getting the impression that while there's a path, it's not like a hiking trail. It's not like a footpath. Like there are going to be times when you might need to, kind of scale some rock. Like it's not going to be a huge effort, but a horse would not be able to handle it.
Okay.
You do have to go up by foot. Well, unless you can figure out some cool magical way to.
Well, it's not a magical horse. I mean, I summon it with magic,
yeah.
but it's like just a horse.
Right. Yeah.
A really smart horse, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, the paladin's mounts are cool.
But I kind of have a question, like out of game.
Yeah.
Yep. To spend hit dice, it's for add up rest or short rest or long rest that you can spend your hit dice, right?
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
and all characters can spend hit dice, not just select few.
Correct.
Oh yeah. If you take a short rest. Or, yeah, if you take a short rest, you can spend the hit dice to recover whatever your hit dice worth of hit points is. Or if you take a long rest, obviously, then you recover all your hit points.
Okay, this is only like my 4th or 5th game of actual 5th edition, so some of the rules I'm not that familiar with, so I just wanted to ask that really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I tend to be pretty liberal when it comes to the rules, so... Yeah, if you guys want to do something, let me know. But essentially what you would have to do is you'd have to rest for an hour, really kind of light action, not doing a whole lot, but you could roll a hit dice to regain those if you want.
Being as I'm the only one who's still like really jacked up, I would not suggest taking a short rest to the other party members because Reshkal would not want to seem weak or like he was going to slow any of the other members down.
It's not like we got tired from that. That was a pretty easy fight, relatively.
Well,
Yeah.
seeing how he's still kind of hurting, like he's kind of holding his side, but not, kind of showing it.
Oh no, he's
I'm gonna
like
go
there are
there with.
definitely like bloody gashes on him. He's not showing any signs that he's hurting,
Oh, okay.
but he definitely looks fucked up.
Well, I'm gonna go over there and put more bandages on him to heal him again. For wow, that sucked.
That's
4,
your
5, 6,
range
6
Giants
points.
are,
right?
Giants are serious business. I
Yeah.
say we find out where they live and then we take a rest. Prepare
Alright.
and shit.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, do you guys want to take a certain marching order, or are you just gonna kind of head up, head up the mountain?
I want to go first, but like right next to someone who can spot things, cause I'm very bad at that.
Yeah, I'll follow right behind you. I'm pretty good at spotting things.
Absolutely.
So
All right. So, are you guys so you're actively looking for things, essentially? Okay. Cool. So yeah, as you kind of ascend the mountain, the terrain is difficult, but not so difficult that it requires a tremendous effort. You are slowly but surely making your way up. You start to feel like, okay, you're in nature now. It doesn't seem as oppressive as you might think, being a giant mountain. There are birds, and there are animals scurrying around. You notice your normal kind of mountain creatures, and as you make your way up, you kind of hear some sort of, it almost sounds like grunting and yelling kind of off to your left. And as you kind of peer over, you see two large trolls. These fearsome green-skinned, nasty kind of creatures, both holding these big clubs, and standing around a campfire. And they seem to be arguing with each other about whether they want to go and check the noise that they heard coming from the plateau or not. And one of them, the uglier of the two, wants to go check it out because he's hungry. The other one isn't so sure because he's like, last time, I tripped and almost fell, and I hit my head and it hurt, and I don't want that to happen again. And then the other one hits him and says, you're weak and you're a coward. And then they start to kind of punch each other.
I whisper, I whisper to the person next to me, spotting things. I say we make some noise and push them off.
I assume it's been 10 minutes and my call lightning's gone.
Yeah.
are they close to a cliff or anything like that, or?
No, right now they're not. You guys.
Okay.
So the way you're going up the mountain is you would be closer to the cliff face than they would be. They're kind of more up against like a rock face. But they have not noticed you. They don't know that you're there right now.
Okay, and you say they're standing around the campfire. Is there one in between us and the campfire?
No, so it's sort of like they have their backs kind of up against the wall. The campfire's in front of them, and you guys are kind of peering in, at them from sort of like the tree cover and the brush cover. So if you were to essentially go forward, you would be coming right at them. They would see you.
Okay.
So there's some,
But
So
if there's something you want to
suggesting-
do, yeah, go ahead and let me know.
I'm suggesting we make some noise to like get them to come closer, because I'm assuming like we're somewhere near a cliff, going down. I'm suggesting we make some noise and get them over here, and then push them off.
At that point, at that suggestion, you would see Reshkal like start like rubbing his skull, and he starts very quietly, sort of like chanting some strange incantations, and you would see what appears to be just a like a dwarf appear at the edge of the cliffside in front of the two trolls, like giving the two trolls the finger, effectively, like not really, like mocking them. It doesn't actually make any noise, but I'm using minor or silent image.
Okay,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna get ready to ram one of them if they come.
Likewise.
So yeah, so you see the one that seemed a little more cowardly. He notices it and he's like, "Oh, look, a dwarf. Let's eat it." And then the other one looks up at it and he's like, "You fool. The dwarves are too scared to come on our mountain. That must be some sort of trickery." And then the other one looks to him and he says, "Trickery? What trickery? Only big giant, no magic." And then the other one says, "I don't know. I don't question his methods, fool. But if you want to go check it out, you go ahead."
And
And then,
at that point, I would cast Minor Illusion to make appropriate speech for the dwarf. Oh, I'm real, all right.
nice. And the dumber of the two trolls, you see him lean down, and next to him he kind of picks up this boulder, and the boulder, it's probably about, I don't know, 10 feet in diameter, and he just chucks it right at the illusion of the
While
dwarf.
that's happening, I whisper to the group like behind me, "Can anyone climb behind them?" So does it look like there's any place, or does anyone think that they could do that, like climb
I
on the side of
probably
the cliff?
can.
Yeah, you could make a stealth roll to try to kind of get behind them or get into an area where you could.
All right. Before I start climbing, when the rock would hit that, I'll use my control over the silent image to actually have the rock, to make it look like the rock, like literally sends the dwarf flying off the cliff.
Nice. and
Nice.
the illusion goes ah.
But it
And,
wouldn't make any noise, unfortunately, unless I
oh,
cast
okay.
minor illusion again. It's just silent image, but.
Oh, all right. No worries. Well, yeah. Then it mimics as it falls, and the troll laughs, and then he's like, "Oh, that was gonna be me dinner." And then he takes a few steps like he's gonna go after it, and the other one says, you can see the other one, the smarter one, kind of, you see him go like this for a minute, and he says, I smell elf on this mountain." And he starts looking around, kind of looking around like he's confused. And then the other one says, "No, that was a dwarf, not an elf." And then they get into this argument about, "No, I smell an elf. No, that was a dwarf. Let's go get him." And then they're arguing, being stupid.
All right. Here's stealth roll. Ooh, hell yeah. 25.
Nice. All right, yeah. So you kind of stealth up. You trying to like kind of get behind him, sort of?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody else wants to attempt a stealth roll, I'm going to say because they are arguing, they're at disadvantage. So any of you guys can attempt. Oh, geez, yeah, and they rolled terribly. So.
No, I'm gonna just wait for him to be in a position to attack and then come out.
By the way, if you want, your stealth roll does put you in a position where you could sneak past them without them noticing you, if you wish.
Because I don't think that our heavily armor-clad friend, or you are wearing like heavy armor, right?
Oh yeah, I'm in chainmail.
Yeah.
I've got a huge helmet like covering half of my head.
Yeah, because I don't believe our armor-clad friend would be able to make it past, I would just get into an advantageous position where I'm ready to attack.
All right.
And I rolled a 14 for stealth.
I mean, I'm also
I
not
am going to try.
Right, tell me. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say I am going to try to sneak up behind and try to get him from behind.
Yeah, and you were successful in sneaking up behind him. He does not notice you at all.
So when I think they're ready,
Yep.
I want to go stand next to the edge of the cliff where the dwarf was, and make whatever the same gestures the dwarf was making.
Oh, okay. Like, as in you're trying to be seen?
Yeah, I want them
Okay.
to come charging at me. Now
Nice.
that once my teammates look like they're in place.
Yep, okay. So, yeah, so absolutely. So you wait until kind of everybody positions themselves, and then you get up there, and you're like, kind of, hey, you big ugly, get over here. And they look up at you, and the one is like, ooh, dinner. And the smarter one is a little more cautious, but he's definitely like, get him. And you guys can roll initiative. Now, if anybody, the two of you who rolled the stealth rolls, you guys do have surprise if you want to act, because you'll notice him going up. So if you want to act first, you can, or if you want to wait until they kind of go after him, you can do that too.
How far away are they from the cliff edge?
Well, they were between you and the cliff edge, so I would say there's a good 20 feet between where they are now and the edge of the cliff. You guys kind of were over here, they were over here. You guys have kind of like moved over so you can.
Well, I'm up behind them. So what I would do, and yes, I do want to take action on the surprise because I rolled really bad for my initiative. So I am gonna try to react. I'm gonna wait until he gets about 15 feet away from the edge, and then I'm going to jump out and use basically pushing attack and try to push him just straight off the edge.
Okay, absolutely. So I would say then in that case you would do a grapple. Which
I think he's
there's
talking
a-
about. I think he's talking
I'm
about
using-
the maneuver.
Yeah, I'm using my oh shit, what is it? The maneuvers for the fighter because I did the spellless
okay.
ranger.
Gotcha.
So it's
Okay.
going to be with my greatsword.
Oh, okay. Yep, absolutely. So you make an attack, and then if you're successful, you are able to push him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he gets a saving throw against it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he does. And
Like a strength save.
Yeah, it's a strength save.
Yeah, he's not successful. Yeah, so you can definitely attempt to do that.
Actually, I'm going to try to do it on both of them because I do get 2 attacks and I can use each maneuver on each attack. So I'm going to jump down when both of them are about 15 feet away, hit one, and make him go flying, and then turn around and hit the other one. Basically like a baseball type swing, just rearing back and just trying to knock them off the edge.
Nice. All right. Yeah, absolutely. So make an attack.
The first
make
one.
2 attacks. Yep.
The first one's a 19.
Yep.
The second one is a 13. I doubt that one hits.
Yeah, you miss on the second one. The armor class for these guys is 15. So the first one, you definitely hit him, and you just whack him with your sword really hard. He kind of staggers back from the blow, and the force of the momentum kind of into his companion, which then causes him to fall and sort of tumble, and oh Jesus, he goes rolling right to the cliff edge, and he goes to trying to put his hand on the cliff edge, and for a minute it looks like he's about to hold himself up, and then you see the little rocks under his fingers start to move, and slowly he falls back, and then you hear no as he falls off the edge of the cliff.
Say hi to the dwarf down there.
Nice.
Now, my next question
Awesome.
is, did I hit the ugly one or did I hit the pretty one? Or the smarter one, I should say, not the pretty one.
You hit the dumber one. The smarter one is still survived, and you would have hit him with your second attack, except that because the other one fell into him, he kind of staggered back a little bit, and is able to avoid your blow.
Okay.
All right, and so I think who made the other?
Yeah, I
stealth
was
roll?
also in the surprise round.
Okay.
So how close? Well, I guess at that point, um, I would just basically, how close is he to the cliff edge at this point?
He's not super close. If you wanted to, it would be difficult for you to push him over unless you have a similar maneuver or you have some kind of spell that you could use. Unless you want to try to grapple with him.
No, not particularly.
Alright.
All right. How close, Chester? How close is your character to him, or how close is Chester's character to him?
Yeah, they're right next to each other. I mean,
Oh,
within
okay.
5 feet.
All right. Well then, yeah, he would basically just charge out. You know, howling like a battle cry and go swinging with his axe.
All right. Excellent.
So let's see. Ugh, well, that's no good. Do we have advantage?
Nope.
Nope. Aw.
Nope.
Well, you did
Maybe
say he got knocked
flank
prone.
him.
Didn't you say the troll got knocked prone?
No, he didn't get knocked prone. He sort of staggered back a little bit because he was sort of hit by his companion. But he's on
So-
his feet. Yeah.
So we
do
don't
we get
have
advantage?
advantage for
I was trying.
attacking out of stealth.
What's that?
We don't have advantage for attacking out of stealth.
Oh yeah, actually you would in this case. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Also, does
oh.
flanking give advantage?
No, well in this case no because they have stealth. But normally I would say yes, flanking. I'll rule it so flanking does give advantage because that's the way I've always thought it worked. So
15 and a 12 to hit.
the 15 hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. 25 damage.
Jeez. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, so you
Hooray,
you
great
hit him.
weapon master.
Yeah, right. You definitely hit him, and he. What was your weapon again?
It's actually like this crazy, like, lashed together, basically like a huge hook, made of bone on the end of like a long, tree branch that's been worked down into like a shaft. But I'm just using the great axe stats. It's just a +1 great axe, effectively statistically.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So as you slash him with your axe, it bites in through his toughened trollish hide, and it cuts him, and you can see this sort of greenish black blood start to ooze out a little bit. He definitely cries out in pain, and he is definitely upset. And now we're going to go into regular initiative order. I think, Josh, you rolled a 19, right?
Correct.
And then Chester and Solar rolled 5.
I'm 15. I just realized I forgot to type it in.
15. Okay, cool. So, Josh, you get to go first.
Cool. Rinse and repeat. When I see the gash, he just capitalizes on the troll reeling back in pain, and goes for 2 more just wild strikes at this huge green beast.
Nice.
So the 19 is probably the only hit because I doubt the 9 hits. So
Yep.
And that's going to be for 17 damage.
Wow. Jeez. All right. Nice. Yeah. So again, you slash him and cut another big gash into his hide, and more blood starts oozing out. He's now not so much in. He's not howling in pain so much as rage at this point. He's mad. But Tom, you get to go next.
All right. So, how close to the cliff edge is he?
Not close enough that it would be easy for you to push him. But what were you thinking?
Well, I'm going to cast Thorn Whip, which if I hit, it'll pull him 10 feet closer to me. So I want to get myself on the edge of the cliff and pull him towards me.
Okay, so it would have a 10-foot range then?
It has a 30-foot range, actually.
Oh, it has a 30-foot range. Okay. Yeah, then I would say in that case you could do it. If it has a 30-foot range, if you're successful, because you're only about 20 feet from the cliff face, so you could essentially use it, and if you're successful, whip him kind of over the cliff.
Well, it says towards me, so I don't think I can actually do it like that.
Well, you could
Well,
you could
it can
attempt
only move
to
him
get
10
out of the
feet
way.
anyways.
Oh, it can only move him 10 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Alright.
so.
Yeah.
So then,
yeah. Unfortunately,
so
it's
then,
not like a super grapple thingy, but
yeah, I
Yeah,
got
that's
you.
cool. Pulls him away from me.
I'm thinking if I stand on the edge, I can get to the edge or closer to the edge for my team.
I got you. So yes, if you want to, then you could essentially pull him. You could move 10 feet, so you're near the cliff face. You could attempt to pull him to you, but then you risk him, shoving you over the cliff. But you can do that if you want.
Yeah. Well, I can always turn into a bird and fly.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I shouldn't say always. I can do it one more time today, but
That's crazy.
and of course, these thorns, this vine comes forth from my hand, goes towards the troll, and just flops and misses him, and doesn't grab a hold. It was a brilliant plan there.
It was a good plan. Yep. But unfortunately, this magical whip comes at him, and it actually hits him, but it's not enough to wrap around his big hide, and he kind of swats it away, almost unconsciously. Like he's just in this sort of, angry battle rage, not like a barbarian rage, but, so he swats it away. So Solar and Chester both have a 5 initiative, so you guys would act next, but
Is Vimac one of the ones who stealthed or next to me?
I stealthed. I was the one that did the
You go
basically.
first then.
Okay. Well, I wasn't really planning on doing anything.
you can delay if you want.
Is he
can
still
go
next
first.
to? Well, no. Is he still next to the campfire?
Well, not directly next to it, but he was. It would be within about 5 feet of it. Yeah.
Okay. Am I between him and the campfire?
No,
Like,
you're not
basically,
between
I
them
want-
and you can't. Oh, you can be if you want to be. Yeah.
Well, I want him to be in between me and the campfire.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and move that way, and then I'm going to swing down with my great sword.
All right.
Let's see. 13 and a 18.
So the 13 glances off his tough hide, but the 18
Okay.
does hit. Yeah.
All right, and with that 18, I'm going to do basically a trip attack.
Okay.
What size is he? Is he a large or a medium?
He's a large creature.
Okay, it still works. I basically add a D8 to my damage, and if he fails his DC of a 15, he gets knocked down, and it's
Okay.
a strength save.
A strength save. Okay.
And-
Yep.
Yeah. I'm hoping he will be basically knocked down into the fire. That's what I'm trying to attempt.
Yeah. Absolutely. So go ahead and roll your damage.
15.
Okay. And that's with the additional damage. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you hit him really hard, and he kind of staggers for a minute, and then trips over a little bit of a tree branch on the bottom, and does fall backwards, and he does fall into the fire, and he lets out this horrible pain, as the fire burns him, and you can tell that he is really hurt at this point. He's like, no, and he's trying to get off the fire, but he's like, don't hurt me. But then now it's Solar's turn.
Alright, so during this whole melee pushing, pulling, and slashing going around, my character basically moved out of the way for anyone who wanted to engage, and slowly was walking towards them and looking, at them being pushed off the cliff and into the fire and all that, and he's pulling out his flail as he's nearing the campfire, and he says, "Oh, you don't want to die?"
And he said, no, I don't want to die.
Too bad. But you know, it's all for the better. I hear dwarves don't taste very well.
And he's like, no.
And I'm gonna swing at him twice in the fire and try to like push him like into the coals and like further into the fire. You know, keep him there.
Yep, absolutely. You don't even
He's
really have to. You don't even really have to roll at this point. He is. You don't have to roll to attack. If you want to actually hurt him with your weapons, you can. Or if you want to have the fire deal him damage, that will.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep him in the fire and let him burn.
Okay. All right. He is definitely trying to struggle away. I would say if you want to do it sustained, you'd want to make either a strength or a dexterity check. But in the meantime, oh yeah, he takes some fire damage. Ouch.
24 strength check.
Oh shit! Really? Wow. Yeah, you hold him down. You have. Yep, you've held him down in the fire, and he's starting to burn, and he can't. You see he's trying to do something, and he's like, no, and then all of a sudden his body catches on fire, and you can see sort of the light go out of his eyes as he dies.
At that point, as he's like about to die, I'm gonna try and roll him away off the cliff.
Mhm.
And as he's like rolling away, I'm gonna say, "Remember in your next life, be nice."
Nice. Yeah, you do that, and he was falling off the cliff face. Awesome. So you guys notice, the campfire, and behind it, there's just a little kind of cave entrance, where you assume that these trolls kind of made their hut or whatever. And then obviously there's the path continuing up the mountain.
I guess we might as well poke around in there, see if they have,
Yeah, exactly.
+5 plate on just sitting there.
I'm curious what kind of food they have.
So you go ahead.
No, like what kind of food do trolls eat? I'm curious.
They eat anything and everything.
No, I'm looking for
You're looking
food.
specifically. They don't have any food stores within there. They were just talking about how they were hungry, and they were trying to debate whether they should go out. So you don't find any food in their cave. But if anyone wants to, you do notice some herbs, kind of plants and herbs growing in and around the cave. And if anyone wants to make a survival check, that'd be great. You can try to identify what they are.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
I rolled
Right.
high.
23.
23 as well.
Hold on.
Exactly 23 as well.
26. Ha.
Damn. You
Did
guys
we all take the Outlander background? Like, I'm just wondering.
I did.
I have
Why?
as well.
Nice.
I
Well, you guys
+3
all
survival.
nice. You guys all recognize these herbs as healing herbs. The trolls would not have had any idea what those were. They just like the way they taste, but they like meat more, so that's why there's so many of them. So you could effectively each take some of these healing herbs, and it would be enough to restore 1d10 hit points for you.
Reshkal definitely will.
Excellent. Actually, it's
Could
not.
I-
It wouldn't even be 1d10. It's going to be 10. Plus, you can add your Constitution modifier. So.
Okay, I'm going to basically remake my what are they called?
Your
The
poultices?
poultries. Yeah, poultices, whatever.
Yep.
And basically I'm going to put these herbs in the bandages and stuff. Or
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And so, are you going to use them? Do you currently have wounds? I can't remember.
I'm only down 2 now because I cast healing earlier.
Yeah, I'm only down 6 after I eat the herbs.
Sweet. Awesome.
I guess I could eat some herbs to get up to full. Is
Yeah.
there plenty
yeah,
there?
I'm not
There's
wounded
there's not
myself,
enough for
but
you guys to do it multiple times, but there's enough for you to each have some if you need to.
I'll let whoever needs to get whatever's left.
If we pick it, how long will it last?
Oh, as far as you know, it's not gonna go. I mean, it won't go bad. Like you can use it later if you need to. So yeah, so if you guys take it, you kind of look around the rest of the cave, and there's not much else in there that's of much use. They have some basic weapons. They have a club. They don't have a lot of loot or stuff.
What kind of
Um,
club? A great
it's just
club?
like, well, yeah, effectively it would be, if you wanted to wield it, it would be a 1d12 weapon.
Bless you.
Yeah, 1d12 bludgeoning damage is what it would deal.
That might be fun, I guess, but
Yeah, you can take it if you want, but there's nothing really of value in the cave.
I point at the club and ask the group, anyone wanna try that out?
Mother Raven has already gifted me with a splendid device of destruction.
You never crave anything new? Excitement? You know? Change things up?
I'm
The
gonna
old
shake my
way
head.
is often the best.
I'm gonna shake my head no and say I'm fine with this one. And as I say that, I'm gonna be patting the handle of the great sword. But should we go ahead and rest here? Basically, in game terms, be taking a short rest.
So
Since
you can
we
remake
have.
your poultices?
Eh, well, I
I'm
was
just
mainly
playing.
doing it for you guys to get back hit points and your spells. So
Not sure what I get with a short rest.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty groovy right now. I'm only 6 away from max, and I only used one actual spell slot.
I played
Okay.
last both times, so I never actually got to take any damage.
yeah, I didn't take any damage as well. So all right, let's
Yeah.
go kill a giant.
All right. So yeah, if you guys head up the rest of the mountain, or attempt to head your way up to the summit, you make your way. You keep traveling up the mountain. You get to certain points where it is rather difficult terrain, and in fact, you get to one part where anyone who is proficient in survival understands that if you're not careful here, you could set off a rock slide that might seriously damage you guys. So you get to a point where you're going to need to make a dexterity save or check to kind of get around this area so that you don't take any damage potentially from setting off a rock slide.
Straight dexterity or acrobatics?
Either. Yeah, if you have
Awesome.
proficient in acrobatics, that's fine.
18.
Sam,
Yeah.
because I'm a ranger, I have natural explorer, and I picked mountain as one of my areas. And it says
Yep.
here that difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. I'm not saying, hey, I'm asking what does that do in this situation, basically. Like, does that
It
affect us?
means
Do
that
do we
you.
gain? Oh, go ahead.
Well, no. In this case, it means that you can still move your full movement speed. Um, in this case, it's not necessarily slowing your travel. You just recognize that if you're not careful, this is going to set off a rock slide, which that would be difficult terrain. But since you are a ranger, you might be able to just nimbly get over that if you don't take any damage from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just asking to kind
Yeah.
of see how it would work.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I'm gonna pull out some rope and tie it around my waist and offer it to other people if they wanna, keep safe.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
What was the roll that we were making? It was either a straight dext or
Yeah, or like if you have what was it, acrobatics, whichever is better for you.
okay.
16.
I have a 16.
All right.
Another 20 in a row. Why
Perfect.
doesn't that happen in combat?
Yeah, right. I know. Awesome. So yeah, you guys all managed to avoid this terrain that might set off a rock slide. So you managed to scoot past it, and you make your way up to the summit of the mountain without any further event. And as you kind of are broaching the top of the mountain, you're kind of just getting up to the top, you can start to see the tree cover and whatever start to clear. And as you guys kind of, peek over, you see that on the top of the mountain there is this somewhat of almost a palatial structure. This is clearly where the giant resides. But what's interesting about it is outside there's almost this. It's like the entrance to his structure looks like this giant skull, with these big teeth, and you recognize this as the skull of a dragon. And as you kind of notice, you see the rest of its skeleton kind of sort of weaves its way around the structure that is built there, and it's kind of in a decorative form. But part of it, the skull and the throat almost create like an entrance and like a almost like a hallway into a structure. And standing around outside the structure, there look to be a couple of hill giants, just kind of. They look like they're working up there. They're working on the structure itself, and you see, because this isn't a closed structure, it's kind of like almost like a pavilion. There is a like a ceiling, but there's columns, and it's kind of open to the air. You see a giant treasure hoard there with all kinds of coins and weapons and gems and just all kinds of stuff. It would be typical of a dragon's treasure hoard, only now the giant's in possession of it. And you see this particularly large giant standing in the pavilion, and he actually looks like he's sculpting. Like he's got this piece of marble column, and he's sculpting it into a shape. And it looks like he's just started. You can't really discern yet exactly what it is, but it's somewhat of a humanoid shape. And you get the impression that it's a female shape. That's what it looks like it's turning into. So, what do you guys want to do? Yep.
Does this area in front of the dragon's corpse and inside, does it look like there's enough room for a horse to move around and stuff?
Yes, this is a very large. Like this is the top of the mountain, so it's a very large area. They've made it mostly
like a plateau.
flat. Yep, exactly. So yeah.
And are we like far enough so that they wouldn't see me summoning a horse?
Yeah. I mean, you could summon your horse. Like if you want to summon it next to you, you're still within cover, so he might not see you.
Oh, that might. He might not see you.
Might not.
That was very ominous.
Yeah.
I let the group know that I'm gonna summon the horse when they plan to attack.
Okay. Absolutely. You guys also notice that kind of off to the side, on either side, and also kind of perched on top of some of the columns, there's about 6 manticores in total. Some of them are circling, some of them are perched, but they're just kind of milling about. And then you also notice it looks like kind of near the back of his structure is like a little, you can tell that there's like a trap door, and you can see these small greenish figures going in and out. And as you kind of focus a little bit, they look to be maybe like goblins or orcs, kind of coming up and going down, and they're bringing stuff in and out. But it looks like they would be going down into the mountain.
I believe the wise way would be to find where that door goes. Come from there.
you get the impression that that would lead inside the mountain, which when you guys were down in the town, the dwarf basically told you, and now you kind of understand why. He's like, you can't go that way. It's occupied. So there's clearly a orcish or goblin presence of some kind in there. But if you were to come in there, it would have been down closer to the base of the mountain that you would be able to get in.
Okay.
Does it look like there's a way to not fight them and you know, to get to that door around or through the skeleton?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to, there's enough objects and enough things, and there's enough of a distraction. They don't seem to be particularly like on alert. You could definitely attempt to like stealth your way, over to that door.
I suggest to the group that if anyone has oil or anything flammable, that someone sneaks in behind the horde or somewhere next to that horde, douse it and set it on fire to distract the giants while we attack them from behind. Is douse the proper term?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep. That would work.
You said he's carving or something?
Yeah, he's like sculpting. Yeah.
What sort of tool is he using for that?
Just typical sculpting tools. Although he does have a great club, kind of near him. He also has several like marble. You'd almost call them boulders. They're large chunks of marble, strewn around him. And you guys know that giants are known for throwing rocks and boulders and stuff. So he does have weapons nearby. Plus, he's surrounded by all kinds of weapons in his treasure hoard.
So, does anyone have a plan or thoughts?
I was thinking about heat metal as one of my spells, but it doesn't look like he's using metal really.
No, yeah,
The
he
gold
is.
is metal.
He would be. Yeah, the gold would be metal. He has like a metal chisel, and he's hitting it with a hammer. So yeah.
What do you have for metal?
Heat metal, so it has a range of 60 feet, which might be a little bit of a challenge there. Although I could change into some small animal and get closer.
Yeah, my stealth is decent. I could probably stealth over there with you to provide some backup. I think Chester's stealth is pretty good.
Yeah, I can stealth as well, but I have nothing, no oil or anything like that to set anything on fire.
I have the create bonfire spell. I could just.
I love
suppose
that.
I could
spell.
just
That's
light
crazy.
it on fire, or the create bonfire cantrip. I'm sorry. Oh no, wait, no, I don't. No, I'm a liar. I did not take that.
You don't.
That's
Okay.
a lie. My apologies.
No.
I'm thinking of a different warlock.
Yep. No, that's cool. My in the other one shot I ran, we had a character with that. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's a super cool
Yeah.
spell.
Yeah. So, you guys, as you're sort of thinking about what to do, one of the manticores kind of comes off the pillar and flies kind of overhead, and fortunately does not spot you, but he starts kind of circling, so you assume he's going to come around again here pretty soon.
If we don't move soon, I'm gonna charge them.
All right, I'm gonna start stealthing my way over to around the other side of the pavilion.
Yeah.
And once we get there,
Yeah.
I want to on my way if I can find some type of tree branch or something like that that I can use to kind of bar that trap door that the goblins and orcs are coming in and out of once we get over there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
So here's the stealth roll. Yo, 12.
Excellent.
Mine's a 22.
All right.
So when I can tell he's quieter, I just hop on his back and don't say anything. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So Chester manages to, almost like a ninja, just like kind of weave his way, through, and he's, goes up next to a pillar and stops, and then whatever, and he kind of makes his way fairly close, so he's like at the treasure hoard, but unfortunately, our friend Reshkal is not so lucky. He comes in and he's spotted by the giant. As you're coming in, you actually trip a little bit over like some of the gold and some of the coins, and
So not to
you
have
get
to
a hint.
retcon later, I was summoning my horse during this, by the way.
Yep, absolutely. Um, and so the giant looks up and he spots you, and he looks at you and he says, and he gets this look on his face, kind of not so much of anger, but more of like just sorrow and kind of weariness. And he's like, "Oh, more thieves come to steal from me again. Why must I endure this over and over again?"
I have no interest in your things.
And he looks at you and he says, "Then why are you here?"
I am here for your life.
All right. And he says, "That is unfortunate. That fool
And
of
I
a..."
am charging.
You're gonna charge in. All right. As
So
you're charging, he says that.
just to describe, I dismissed as they were like starting to sneak around. I dismissed Johnny from the village, and
Yep.
like I told him mentally. I told him mentally, like, hang on a second, and I dismissed him back to Mount Celestia, and then re-summoned him. And there was this
Mhm.
like, there was this like small halo around him as he appeared.
Yep.
And then he shook his head, and I said, "Ah, don't worry about it. Like you go through that often enough, you should be used to it." And then I mount him, and I ready my flail and shield, and then I tell him, because he speaks common. Well, not speaks, he understands common. I
Mhm.
tell him, see that big one over there, right in the middle of that skeleton thing. I want you to ram him, and I want you to knock him down. Can you do that? And then he just charges before, like, even responding.
Oh, just the horse. You're not on it. Okay.
No, I'm on it.
Oh, you are. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
So, give me a second just to confirm. So the horse, I'm looking at his stats, like the war horse stats in the monster manual. So, what he can do is, if he moves at least 20 feet,
Mhm.
straight, he can, like he can try to knock someone down, and they have to make a DC 14 saving throw.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, I'm also gonna attack. I'm doing like a helicopter thing, like waving my flail around my head and trying to hit him twice.
Okay.
Uh, 17 and 22.
Both hit. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Now he manages to avoid the you getting knocked over from the horse. But he's not wearing any armor. He's as he kind of sees you charging in, and he grabs his club, but before he can actually do anything with it, you come in and you attack him full force. So you can.
I'm gonna use a divine. What the hell was it called? Divine smite on both the
Yep,
attacks.
absolutely.
Uh, Holy shit. Uh, 24 on the first one.
Wow.
Is it 20? Yeah, it's 24. Yeah. And on the second one, um, 22. I
22.
rolled four sevens, a 2, and a 6.
Wow. Nice. So you said 24 and 22?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Radiant damage is the two 14s.
Yeah. Damn. Awesome. All right. And so what we're gonna do at this point is I'm gonna have everyone roll initiative, and if you can put it in the chat, that'd be great. But before you guys take any actions, the giant kind of has this pained look on his face, not so much because he got so much because he got hit, but because he just looks like he's in mental anguish, and he says, "I don't wish to fight. I don't wish to kill you. I've been under constant attack since I got reclaimed my home. Why can't I just be left in peace?"
But the dwarf said it was
I,
there. Oh,
I look at the giant and I lower my flail and I say shit, I knew this was gonna happen.
Now, because I was stealth before, did the giant notice me as well, since I was right
Nope.
next to Josh?
He does not. He still does not notice you. He's not aware of you.
Okay.
He's distracted by the paladin who just whacked him with radiant damage.
Hearing him say that, I'm going to kind of hold off and still remain in stealth, like hiding,
Yeah.
and kind of wait to see how this plays out. But if it starts to go sour, I'm going to, basically jump in and...
Yep, absolutely. And you see he kind of holds his hand out like and in like a stop motion. And you kind of look around and you guys notice that the other giants, the other two little hill giants and the little hill giants compared to him, and the manticores, like they looked like they were about ready to pounce, but then they stop at his command, and then he kind of waits for you guys to respond.
Why do you not let the dwarves back into their home? They say they have appropriate claim.
He says, "I can understand why they might think that. They did occupy the mountain once, but before they ever occupied the mountain, this was the homeland of my family and my clan. We were driven from it long ago by those dwarves, driven into exile. And it wasn't until I saw the opportunity with that dragon to reclaim my homeland once and for all."
So
Can I make an insight check to see if he's telling the truth?
Yeah, absolutely.
and I'd like to make a history check to see if I remember if giants are usually like warlike races that like take shit, or are they just another race?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I do have giants as my favorite enemy, so I get an advantage on this insight check, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
16.
Okay. So for the insight check, you don't believe that he's lying. You believe that at least he believes he's telling the truth. You don't get the idea that there's any deception. And Solar, what did you get on your history roll?
16.
16. Oh, okay. You notice that some giants are warlike, but stone giants tend not to be. They tend to be more of the artisans. They tend to be more intelligent. They aren't by nature violent, at least any more violent than a normal giant would be. Overall, giants are somewhat aggressive, but this guy would not be one of the more aggressive ones.
You got any proof?
He says, "Of course I don't have proof. It was too long ago. It's not like we have written records of this being our homeland."
Isn't there a way that you can share the place with the dwarves? I mean, how much space do they take up? How much do you need?
He said, "Oh, I offered that to them. They wouldn't accept it. They said this mountain was theirs. They launched constant attacks on me for the first few years, but the only defense I had was to scourge their village and try to and run them out of the mountain."
I'm gonna
Well,
slowly pat my horse so it like slowly approaches the giant. Just so I'm closer so you can see my face better. And
Mhm.
I tell him, I'm thinking I'm gonna go back to that village and offer them to live together with you in peace. And if they refuse, I'll know what's up. And if they say they've accepted, and I come back here and I find you ready for an attack, I'm gonna kill every last one of you if it takes me my life.
can I make a perception, or not, is it perception? Yeah, perception check to see if I can find that amulet that the guy that sent us on this quest to begin with, see if I can find his amulet that he wants, because that's really what we're here for.
Yeah, you don't need to make a perception check. It's hanging around the giant's neck. He responds to Solar or to Peter and says, "You can ask the dwarves all you want. They will never agree to live side by side with me. And with all of the pain and suffering they've caused me, I don't know that I want to take that deal." He says, "But I got a proposal for you. Instead of me and he looks to his companions, killing all of you like I would have had to do with that idiot half-elf, why don't you do me this favor? Why don't we descend from the mountain, destroy those stupid dwarves once and for all? Then I can live in peace. They can finally be, I can finally rid myself of this problem, and you guys are welcome to any of this horde. I don't need it. I just wish to live in peace."
I wish to take vengeance on the dwarves for their trickery. I will accept your offer.
I need to confirm. I need to ask them first.
He
I feel like I don't want
says,
to mess with any of this.
Those who deal in lies and trickery are cowards and deserve a coward's death.
Oh yeah? And how do you know they dealt with lies and trickery?
They misinformed us, did they
How
not?
do you know that?
Because I was there
But
when
they
they
probably,
misinformed us.
And you read their mind?
at this point,
To
the
believe
giant,
misinformation does not make it any less true.
at
How do
this
you
point,
know it was misinformation?
they probably thought it was their ancestral homeland too.
yeah, the giant says, "Enough bickering," and he says, "What, you want to go and ask them? They'll lie to you just like they lied to you before. What makes you think that it's going to be any different?"
There's no way to lie to an ultimatum. Either they agree to live with you in peace, or I kill them all.
"Then I agree to that proposal. Let's go."
Are there any of those long-lived trees that live for hundreds or thousands of years nearby?
On the mountain, no. You get the impression that most of this area was pretty much stripped of any long living ancient stuff. This is, the dragon did a huge amount of destruction, or at least that's the impression that you get. But why?
Oh,
What were you thinking?
I could speak with clans, ask them their opinion of the historical ownership of this mountain.
I respond to the giant saying, "Let's go,"
Mhm.
by saying, "Oh, you're not coming, because if you come, they will attack, regardless."
He says, "All right, very well. If you wish to go, and you wish to confirm with them, I have no problem with that. He's like, in fact, I got a quick way down and up if you want it. And he pulls from his pocket slowly because he doesn't want to alarm you. This thing, and he holds it out to you, and it looks like a bean, almost like a kidney bean. And it's white, and it has this sort of green swirling energy into it. And he says, you throw this over the mountain, and when it lands, it will create a beanstalk, and you can climb up and down it. I stole it from that idiot half-elf.
You keep mentioning a half-elf. What's that about?
That was Jack. Jack, the giant slayer, was the half-elf.
No, I'm asking him.
Okay. He's like, I get you. He's like, well, some half-elf adventurer came up here just like you guys did, thinking to take me out, remove me from my mountain, and unfortunately, I had to do what I had to do. I didn't want to hurt the guy, but I had no other choice. I did spare his life. Well, as much as I can say that.
You had no other choice than what?
Than to defend myself and make him leave. Otherwise, he would have killed me, just as you were gonna do.
Yeah, but you're saying you didn't attack him, but you did something to him.
Well, yes, after he attacked me, of course, I defended myself, and I used the tools at my disposal here to make sure that he would never attack me again.
Tools of your disposal, and I look around those weapons you mentioned. Tools are at your disposal are golden weapons.
And he reaches behind him, and he says, I mean, no attack here. Don't take this the wrong way. But he reaches behind him and he pulls this. What looks like for him it would be a short sword. For you guys, it would probably be a great sword. And it's this pure white curved blade. And he says, and you guys can tell that this has a magical origin. And he says, this blade was forged from the tooth of the dragon that I slayed. It was imbued with awful magic, and when I cut him with it, it cursed him. It weakened him enough that I was able to incapacitate him. I could have killed him right there, and maybe I should have, but I didn't want any trouble. I don't want blood on my hands. I just want to be left alone in peace.
If you spare the wicked, you will never be in peace.
He's like, so I've learned. So are you going to go talk to the dwarves or not?
I'm on it.
All right. Cool.
Sounds good.
So he gets up and he says, as long as you guys promise not to attack me, I'll take no violence against you. He looks to the rest of you guys. Agreed?
Yeah, sorry about earlier.
He's like, listen, I understand. There's been too much lies and misdirection already. And so if you guys accept his offer, then Solar will go down, or Peter will go down. Are you going to use the beanstalk way, or are you going to go down another way? Travel down on foot and then take the griffin?
What's everyone else doing?
No, I'll do the beanstalk way.
Yeah. I'll take the
What's
beanstalk.
everyone else doing in regards to the giant and leaving and stuff?
Sounds like everyone wants to travel down the beanstalk and see what the dwarves...
Here firsthand.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna come out of hiding finally.
I'm-
From hiding from this massive pile of gold and just be like, "Yo, what's up, guys?"
I just imagine you like popping up out of the pile of gold, like you've been under it somehow this whole time.
It's like,
I was thinking about saying, like, you guys see some like coins falling down, and then all of a sudden you see these two giant eyeballs sticking out of it, and that's me basically hiding. I basically crawled my way through and moved the gold so I could see what's going on.
Nice. Yeah, that's fine. You can do that if you want. You totally were stealthed enough for that.
I'd rather fly with the griffin and keep that beanstalk. Well,
Okay.
bean.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine. So, do you all want to go?
Yes,
Okay. Um,
but when we get down, I don't want to. I want to go in hiding, basically. Like, I don't want necessarily want to stay with a group and go into town. I want to kind of hide and stay on the outskirts, so that way, if something goes wrong, I can react or do something.
okay. Um, the giant
Also,
says before you go, he's like, and he gives you each like a little coin, and you notice that this coin is sort of different. It has like the figure of a dragon on it, and he says, as long as you hold this coin, the wyverns will stay away from you. He says, I'll give you till nightfall to return, but if you don't return, it seems clear that those dwarves are never going to leave me be. So if you're not
agreed.
back by nightfall, I'm launching an attack.
Fair enough.
Actually, I just thought of another plan. I'm going to change into some native sparrow or something like that, small creature, and fly down into the dwarven city village and just eavesdrop, see if I hear them saying anything about us or anything in particular.
Okay.
I'd like to
Before
uh,
the group gets down there.
I'd like to let Johnny know the horse to like hide in some foliage nearby and watch the giants see what's happening. And I have a mental link with it, like I think. So like it can let me know what's happening, or
Yeah.
can it?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll say that yeah, he can definitely do that. You
Yep.
can communicate with it in that way. Yeah, so that's fine. So Tom, you kind of polymorph, so to speak, into a bird, and you fly down. The coin and all of your possessions just sort of are part of you. So the wyverns don't attack you as you go down. And if the rest of you guys are going to attempt to go down the mountain, you can. But as you notice what he's doing, if you guys decide, oh well, why don't we wait and see what he's reports, you can do that as well. Either way.
We can't afford to waste time.
Okay. So you guys are all going to go?
Yeah, I'm just assuming I can get down there, 5 or 10 minutes earlier than they can,
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, because
and hope that they don't
Yeah.
catch me, that the dwarves don't figure me out.
yeah. No, well, no, that's fine. In terms of the beanstalk, Solar, or Peter was given that, so he's got the bean. So unless he like allows you to use it, he has it currently.
Wait, what? Oh, I have. They gave us one beanstalk.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he gave you the bean, and he said if you want, you can use the beanstalk. It'll create a beanstalk, and you can climb down, and it's a direct route
Oh, okay.
down and up.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna keep the bean. Like, if everyone wants to use it, I'll
Oh,
give
okay.
them the.
All right. Cool. So you do that. So you chuck the bean over, and it goes down. And then a couple minutes later, you see this vine, this huge stalk, kind of raising up towards you, and it goes right up to the top of the mountain. And the giant kind of, you can hear him yelling in his giant language, kind of positioning, his other giants, and more giants come out, and there's some trolls and whatever that come out. And it looks like they're preparing for a defense of their city. They said, as quick as you can, guys. As quick as you can.
Right. Keep an eye on the beanstalk.
He says, oh, I will.
Does he
I'm
say-
gonna.
Does he say anything in Giant that may be what? Oh, what's the wording? Um, what does he say exactly in Giant, basically, or is it just basically like you said? You come over here, you move this over here. Like, is that what he's basically saying?
Yeah. He's basically like position yourself for an attack. Get ready in case those dwarves decide to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if he was basically deceiving us. Basically a double trickery type of deal.
Right. Yeah. No, you don't get that impression.
So I'm gonna try and send like a mental ping to the one of the griffins that I wrote,
Yep.
and tell it that I'm not quite sure what's happening, and I need to go back to the village to check something with the elders.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mind climbing to meet me as I'm climbing down the mountain? It doesn't have to fly. Just meet me somewhere.
It's
safe. I tell
yeah.
it it's safe.
It gives you the impression that it would meet you back at the sort of the plateau where it dropped you off.
All right.
So, yeah, if you want to go down there, you can. If you do travel down the beanstalk, I mean, it's going to take you directly to the ground. So,
I'd rather fly.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. So yeah, so you go down, and the griffin meets you, and you fly back down to the village. Do the rest of you guys take the beanstalk down?
I do.
If the beanstalk takes us to where the griffins are, no, I'm gonna take the griffin the rest of the way back.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the griffin's fault that the dwarves are assholes.
Right.
And he totally did everything I needed him to do in that fight with the wyvern, so he deserves to go home.
All right. Nice. Yeah, that's fine. And Tom, what about you?
I was changing into a sparrow or whatever and flying.
Right, that's right. You were flying. Okay, so yeah, so one of you takes the beanstalk down, and then it's not that far from the village. You could walk to the village. The rest of you guys ride your griffins down. And Tom, you do get there ahead of time, and you do fly into the village, and there's birds, so they don't think anything of it. And you do hear the dwarves talking about how they hope that they hope that you guys are successful in slaying the giant, because they're so just sick and tired of living above ground, the shame. They really want their mountain back, and they certainly wouldn't mind that treasure hoard to help them rebuild after the destruction that both the dragon and the giant caused. But nothing out of the ordinary, or nothing that's particularly suspicious, so to speak.
I guess do a perception check just to see if I think they might actually be onto me and putting on a show.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead and roll.
I rolled a 1, so.
Yeah, you're a little bit paranoid, and you think that they might be, but you're just not sure. So you wouldn't be able to tell one way or another. But what they're saying is consistent with what they told you before.
Okay. I guess I'll fly to over to the beanstalk and tell those guys when I see them. And I'll have to change back into human or elf form to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. So you guys all kind of congregate a little bit. The guys in the on the griffins, they fly down, and you guys are all able to sort of talk before you get into the village, and you relay what you said. And then I assume you guys just want to enter the village.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, unless somebody else wants to do something specifically tactical.
Right.
Rich Call would just stride in, though.
Yeah.
Yep. Flying in at the center.
Yeah.
His axe.
I'm gonna hang back and basically
over his shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. And Chester, you said you were gonna hang back and stealth.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that. Oh
Yeah.
wow, natural 1. So There's a small twig out in the middle of nowhere, small little tree about this big, and I'm sitting there. They
No,
can't
man.
see me.
You just
Right.
rip a whole bush out of the ground, and you're just like carrying it with you. But you're
Yeah.
not ducking down or anything. You're just walking, holding this bush. Anyways,
Yeah, you're walking along trying to be sneaky, and you're not at all. But it you're not necessarily focused on by the dwarves. They're aware of you, but as they see you coming in, Bardrum comes over to you guys, and he seems very excited, and he's like, "Did you do it? Did you kill the giant? Were you successful?"
I have a question for you.
He's like, "Sure, sure. What is it?"
When I arrived to the top of the mountain, the first thing the giants did was tell me they only want to live in peace and that they've asked you to live with them in peace. Was that true?
And he says, and he spits on the ground, and he's like, "You can't ever trust the word of a giant. Yeah, they asked us, but we knew it was a trick. He just wanted to lure us in there so he could kill us. We would never
apparently
live
we
side
can't
by side
trust
with a
your
giant."
word either.
I came within an inch of his throat, and he called for the rest of his men to stand down, and told me that he asked you to live in peace, and that they wanted just to live alone and not have to worry about being killed.
Yeah. And he nods his head, and he kind of has this smirk on his face, and he's like, "Yeah, he got you off his mountain, and now I bet he's up there preparing for an assault, isn't he?"
Preparing for defense.
He's like, "Defense? Well, I suspect he figured you'd be coming back after you talked to us. You can't trust a giant. You ought to know that. Now listen, if you're not going to kill him, then we'll find someone else who will."
Seems like
I
you've been
came
trying
here. Oh, what was that?
that seems like you've been trying that a lot, getting other people to kill the giant, and it hasn't worked.
He's like, "Believe me, it's a great source of shame that we can't do it ourselves. But look around. We're barely hanging together." He says, "If we could do it ourselves, we would. But clearly we haven't found the right people. I thought heroes were out in the world, but I guess there's just a bunch of
Listen,
cowards."
dwarf. Those giants
Does
could
he really
trample
just call us cowards?
Those giants could trample this village, and they haven't yet. So I'm going to ask you again. Do you want to live in peace and restore your home and live normally under the ground? Or do you want to get trampled by those giants and me?
He
And if you want me to intimidate or whatever.
No, you don't need to intimidate him. He is, he's just got this sad look comes over his face, and he says, "Well, clearly you're not going to help us." He says, "It sounds like I'm in a no-win situation. It's like, unfortunately, my people are going to die either way." He says, "I guess the best we can do is prepare for war."
If your people are about to die, then we'll take the giants with us.
What do you mean? Like, are you saying that you'll help, or that you're gonna bring the giants down to help them, hasten them along?
No, I'm saying that I'm gonna be with them, and if the giants attack, I'm gonna kill them all as we all die.
Oh, okay. So you're basically offering aid to the dwarves?
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, "Well, I'm not gonna say no to your blade, but this isn't your fight."
Didn't the giant offer us some of the dragon horde?
Yeah, he pretty much offered you all of the dragon horde.
All right, so dwarves dudes, what if we just give you the dragon horde? You'd have plenty of money, and you can go somewhere else and live.
He says, "The treasure. We're not looking for the treasure. This
No,
is
I
our
thought you talked about the
home.
treasure earlier.
He says the treasure would be nice, but what is a people without their home? He says this is our home. This is where we lived. We cannot give it up.
Obviously, it is not. If it were truly your home, you would have it.
So are you the Palestinians or the Israelis in this?
Essentially,
Good
in this
joke.
case, yeah, they would be the Palestinians. They are the force that has been oppressed by a more powerful, larger force. But both sides are basically collaborating each other's story. But it's a question of who do you believe?
Well,
I want to mount that the griffin and go back to the mountain and tell the giants that the dwarves agreed to meet.
Okay.
Assuming
That
everyone agrees with that.
they agreed to live in peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no.
So you're
Like,
gonna
I'll
go up
go-
there and lie to the giant?
Like, if I go with him, I'm gonna be like, no, they didn't say that. They want to try to kill your asses.
Wait, what's happening?
So you're gonna go lie to the giant? The dwarfs just said that they were gonna prepare for war because they weren't willing to live with the giant in peace. So you're about to go tell the giant that they said yes, they'll live in
Oh,
peace?
I thought he said he was like stuck between a rock and a hard place and was willing to accept it, but was gonna prepare for war in case the giants attacked.
That's
That's
not the
what I
idea
got.
that I got at all. I thought that
Yeah,
he
same.
basically said that, you know, if the giant, we're gonna go to war
Right.
if that's the
Yeah.
only other option. Was I incorrect or?
No, you're correct. He basically, you
Yeah.
get the impression that he was basically like, well, we're not strong enough to take this giant out, or we would have. But since it's clear that that giant is now angry at us, the only thing we can do is prepare for war. And you get the impression that they were going to go on the attack because clearly there's no defense where they are in their village. So he's resigned to the fact that they're going to fight and they're going to die.
All right. Well, that's not what I got. So I'm not gonna help them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like really confused. I was like, why does this paladin keep switching sides like every time somebody's like, nope, we're gonna fight. Nope, I'm gonna fight. No, I'm gonna fight.
Yeah, I was a bit
Basically,
confused
he's
as
just
well.
trying to figure out. He's trying to figure out like the side that doesn't want to live in peace, and that seems to be the dwarves right now. So he's
Yeah.
like about to attack the dwarves, basically.
All right.
Yeah, I'm down with that too.
Is there an open fire anywhere?
Not necessarily outside. There you can tell that within some of the buildings there is smoke rising from chimneys, but it's not like the it's not like the giants compound where there was, or the trolls, I'm sorry, where there was an open campfire.
Okay.
Yeah. And remember too that although this village is somewhat decimated, there are still healthy dwarven warriors here. So, and
How many?
they do outnumber you. They said
How
that the
many
village
are here?
there was probably about I think I said there was about 200 able-bodied like soldiers altogether, and there was about maybe 400 total dwarves in the village, including men, women,
Okay,
and
never
children.
mind.
Yeah.
And they sent us up the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, they're
I
not.
will-
This isn't like a crack forest. This is like, it's not like they're decked out in full armor with, helm. I mean, they have like some spears. It's almost like a militia.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. They would not make it in a serious fight.
So if I look back at the group, and, I'm waiting to hear their opinions, basically.
Mhm.
And if everyone agrees that we should attack the dwarves, I'm basically gonna like attack them right here and now. I'm gonna try to kill the leader.
I really don't want to take any side.
All right.
Oh, Reshkal totally wants to take the giant side.
I haven't thought of a solution, and I don't want to take either side.
I want to take the giant side, but I don't want to attack them here and now because 200 or 400 people versus us four. Yeah, that's not good odds. I don't I don't care.
Yeah. And the
I would rather
giant,
fight with the giant.
Yeah, and he did give you the impression that, it's time. It's on. Like they will launch an attack. So those giants are coming down.
I'm sending a mental note to Johnny to get out of his like hiding and basically point at the beanstalk do the horse sound. I don't know what you call it in English, and spin around in a circle and point towards the beanstalk.
Okay, as in try to tell these people come down the beanstalk.
Yeah, and in case it helps, he does understand common, so he can respond, by nodding or something.
Sure.
Here's a bigger question: can he write in common? Because then you could just have him, paw at the ground and basically write one word or something.
Of course. I mean, he'd probably understand, but not write.
Well, he is intelligent.
Honestly, it would be easier if either the shape-shifting druid decided to fly up there and just tell him what's going on, or you guys could take one of the griffins and just fly up there. One of you could go if you wanted to. We could see if the horse can sort of paw out some some script on the ground, but it's less likely.
I think that's why I meant just jump around and point at the beanstalk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does that. And he gives you a mental note back that he's a little nervous because they don't understand what he's doing, and he's starting to agitate them a little bit. And the trolls that came out really want to eat him.
I tell him it's cool, buddy. You're immortal.
It's don't worry. If they eat you, you'll be fine. He's like, okay.
If they go for it, I'll dismiss them.
Right. Nice. But yeah, he doesn't give you the impression that they really understand what's going on.
I can only shapeshift twice a day, and I've already done that.
Okay, so there you go.
I'll take the griffin back up.
But
rather than climbing the beanstalk.
Here's a plan. We get all the dwarves to start climbing up the beanstalk, and you go up and tell the giants to start climbing down the beanstalk, and then we chop the beanstalk down and kill them all, and then we get the dragon horde.
You could try that, yeah.
Isn't that a bit evil to kill both sides when the giants are trying to be peaceful?
Evil, opportunistic. You're splitting hairs.
But wouldn't it end this debate between these two sides?
Maybe. You could try that.
I let the others know. I take everyone to the side, so we're not discussing shit, in front of the dwarves, and I tell them, look guys, whatever you guys want to do, you better do it fast, because I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna attack that elder.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the griffin right now with my bush, and fly up to the top of the mountain.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And you
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's willing to go send word to the giants, then Rashkel will stay here.
Okay.
Or Rishkal, sorry.
Yep.
Don't even know your name.
The griffin will go all the way to the top now because he understands that it's safe now. They wouldn't go all the way up because they figured they would get attacked, but they realize now that they won't. So he'll fly all the way up to the top of the mountain. And you get back, and the giant comes out and he says, "So, did you guys confirm the dwarves' treachery, or are you here to try to kill me again?"
I'm gonna speak in giant to him.
All right.
If we were here to kill you, I wouldn't be the only one coming up here. So, but we want you to come down and attack the town now.
He's like,
and we're gonna help you.
All right. He looks at you, and then he's like, "All right. right. Very well. And he looks around and he kind of marshals his troops and he's like, all right, down the beanstalk. It's time to kill some dwarves. And so they come climbing down and the manticores come flying down and yeah, they're descending on the city or the town. Are you going to go with them or are you going to go ahead of them to tell? It's going to take a little while for them to get there.
About how long? Like a couple of hours, or?
No, probably not. Probably like maybe an hour. I mean, it's not
Okay.
that high. Like they can climb down pretty quick.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the town and not say anything and just give a nod to my
Yeah.
companions.
All right. And so you know that you start hearing some war drums in the distance, and you hear the shrieks of these manticores coming down. And you guys kind of look and you see the mountain before you, almost at the base, almost kind of roiling and moving. And then you realize what's happening, that this host of creatures is coming out from the base of the mountain. And you look around behind you and you see the creatures coming down the beanstalks. And at this point, the griffins realize what's going on, and they take off into the air because they see.
I was gonna ping before the druid went up the mountain, or whoever flew the griffin. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna try two things. Give a mental ping to the griffin that I was riding and ask it, like, look, these guys are assholes. They don't want to live in peace. Are you up for following me?
And it gives you the impression that no, these are its masters, that these people have raised it and trained it, and that it's going to fight to defend them.
You better get out of here then, but whatever.
Prepare to be free.
Second ping, free, yeah. Second mental ping to Johnny. Once the giants start climbing down the beanstalk, I'm gonna let Johnny know to try and open that trap door and see what's under there.
Okay, he does, and he kind of paws it up a little bit, and it just looks like a shaft that goes down into the mountain. You kind of put the picture together that the goblins and the orcs that were in the mountain, that lived inside the mountain, that was their end. That was kind of the way that they could come up to the top. But they are now coming out to attack the dwarven settlement.
Okay.
And there's quite a lot. So the fact that they didn't attack before is somewhat of a testament to the fact that the giant must have been holding them at bay. Because they would have been on an equal footing probably with this dwarven settlement.
Cool.
So
I'm gonna attack the elder then, because I'm like somewhere around him, like in the room even, you know.
Yeah.
If everyone else is okay with that.
I'm a couple hundred yards away from the town. I'm just going to watch this whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Reshkal would be on his way back into the town from the griffins when the Goliath took off.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Once he gets into the town and sees the maelstrom, he will certainly join in, but I don't think he's there in the room with the elder.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys were actually outside. He was standing at the aviary outside. But either way, yeah. So that's fine. Yeah, I mean, Peter, you just basically kill him. Like, he's not even prepared for an attack. He did not expect you to attack him. So you can basically just, however you want to kill him, you can do that.
I will, as we're looking at the mountain and all the giants and orcs and wyverns and shit, I turn to him and he turns to me and I ready my fucking flail, my flail, and I tell him, if you won't find peace, then I wish you peace in the next life, and then I swing at his head and knock him dead.
Yeah, and it caves in his head and he falls down. And the rest of the village at this point just, erupts in terror. They, they see you, and then they start spotting what's going on, and with the griffins, going up into the air, they realize something's going on. But instead of attacking you, you see a contingent of the militia basically rounding up the women and children,
Yeah,
and
I'm screaming like every woman and child run now.
yeah, and they start making their way kind of into the forest. But you see that there's some resistance. Some of the women want to take up arms and they want to fight with the men to defend their village and to defend their homeland. And so some of the militia are like, no, you're going to die. It's for sure you're going to die. And the women are like, but if, what are we as a people without our homeland? And they'll be like, we'll continue to be a people. So these guys are trying to get out. And eventually
I'm gonna try and help the women who want to fight stay and like keep the people keeping them away, like, even if I need to fight them.
Well, if you get near any of them, they like if you start to approach them, they turn like they're gonna fight you because they saw you just murder one of their own.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna argue with them then.
They don't stop to argue with you. They're leaving. Like the soldiers that are still prepared to fight, they're standing, and it's basically like spears and shields. They're gonna die, but they're preparing to make a last stand and give the women and children enough time to get away.
Yeah, as soon as like Reshkal gets to where this like massive dwarves are, he's just gonna indiscriminately start laying into them. Women are totally warriors in his tribe. The only ones he will not kill are kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're gonna go after the
No,
the,
he's not gonna like chase. He's not gonna chase
okay.
the ones running away. But
Yeah.
any women that actually do stay,
Oh, that are staying. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm right there with them.
All right.
Likewise.
All right. And Tom, are you going to sit back and watch the devastation?
I'm just watching the devastation, yeah.
Okay. So
Don't forget a beer.
Yeah. So you guys.
Yeah, I let loose fireball into the crowd of them like before I actually walk in and start.
Yeah. So you guys start laying destruction down on this group of dwarves. And as they're dying, and as the first wave of goblins and orcs slam into their ranks, and as the manticores are, some of them are battling the griffins, and others are coming down and attacking at will with their tail spikes, impaling these dwarves. You can't help but almost admire the courage as these dwarves don't break. Their lines don't break. They stand and accept their slaughter, and they fight as hard as they can, but they're completely outmatched, and the battle turns quickly, and it's a massive slaughter. I mean, it's just chaos. And as the dwarf, as the giant comes down, he kind of is just coming down, and the few survivors that are left, he's just with his great club, just whacking them, almost like they're annoyances that are in his way. At this point, they have no way to fight him, and he, as the last of them die, he looks to the orcs, one of the orc captains or commanders, and he says, "Burn the place to the ground."
No, I was gonna do that while they were attacking.
All right, well that's fine. Yeah, you can start lighting it up. And lots of it starts going up, and anything left, he gives them the command to do that. And they don't pursue the dwarves that are running away. They just allow them to run. But you can hear, because you can see them, because it's sort of barren around here. They're just fleeing, and the giant yells out, "And let this be a lesson. Never again will your people be welcome here in any form. Let everyone know that this giant, that this mountain belongs to Vrasek Zathor, and he will defend it at all costs."
Was that the name of the giant?
Yep.
I actually asked him that. Is that you? Like standing next to him holding a torch.
Mm-hmm. And he says, "Yes, that is my name, and never forget it. In fact, why don't you do this?" And he takes the amulet off of his, off of his person, and he kind of breaks it in half. And he says, "Go ahead and bring this back to your friend Jack, and let him know that this is his
Nah,
fate."
nah. He deserved what he got.
Alrighty, and so he says, "Now, I am a man of my word. Any of the treasure up there that you want, you can take, but I just want to be left in peace."
I'm gonna ask him, can I hitch a ride on one of his wyverns up the mountain instead of having to climb up the beanstalk to get the treasure and then a ride back down?
Oh, he says if you want the treasure, he'll bring it back down. Like he doesn't care. It wasn't his treasure to begin with. It was the dragon horde. Um, so he says he'll have his men bring it down to you if you want it.
Bring it all.
And I don't actually have like a power that specifically lets me speak to my archfiend, but he will start he will attempt to, sort of pray to Mother Raven for guidance, and basically asking her, you know, should there be something that I am looking for amongst these treasures?
Um, and you get this sort of divine guidance that a dragon's treasure hoard would certainly have magic items, and that among those might be spell books or some sort of scrolls or whatever. And so, you know, you do get this communication back that there is likely to be, magical items in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, basically, he doesn't actually care about any of the treasure, but if Mother Raven wants him to acquire things, then he will. That's why he basically was asking. So.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna let you decide whether or not Mother Raven says yes or no.
I mean, I'm pretty sure yes. Mother Raven isn't really Mother Raven. Mother Raven is actually an Archfiend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that Archfiend is like, yes, get things so you can kill more people for me in the future.
Yep.
But
There you go.
Mother Raven quotes probably admires this whole scenario that just happened.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she loves it.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask everyone to take as much gold as they need to be compensated for their time, so we can give the rest to charity.
Yeah, he takes no gold. He simply sifts through for any items that look like they that would bring him power to help him in his quest to bring Mother Raven's power to greatness.
Yep.
I kind of scratched my head at towards the paladin. Like, I'm saying this all in my head. You just slaughtered a whole town, but yet now you want to donate to charity. Like, I literally just start filling up my pack full of gold and taking any items that I need, but mostly I'm after the gold so I can take that back to my village. But I turn to the giant and ask him in giant. I'm quite curious. What was that statue you were making up on top of the mountain? Was it of a particular person, or are you just making a statue of a woman?
He looks away for a minute, and his eyes fill with sadness, and he says, "Yes, it was a particular person. My wife. Well, my former wife. I attempted to bring her here. She wanted to help me and defeat the dragon, and I knew I shouldn't have let her, but she was insistent. She died in the effort. She helped me to destroy the dragon and reclaim my ancestral homeland, but in the process it cost her her life." So I was making a commemorative to her so that I would never forget the pain and the sorrow that I had to go through to retake my homeland. But but hopefully now, after I'm dead, my ancestors will always remember the sacrifice that we had to make. And he has a great big giant tear, comes down, leaves a puddle at your feet. Yeah. So
Her
that's
spirit can finally rest quietly. You have done a great thing this day.
And he says, I appreciate your words. And I'll be honest, without you, I don't think I could have done it. I didn't want to cause this destruction and this slaughter, but you made it clear that this was the only way that I would ever have peace.
It's what I do.
So it's all your fault that the dwarves died. Congratulations. No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean that's basically the adventure. So if you guys want anything else, yeah.
So